welcome to Directly You, episode 163. It's our podcast. We're fanatixfour. I'm AJ of fanatixfour. I'm joined by Parker of fanatixfour. You can support us by going to youtube.com/fanatixfour, or twitch.tv/fanatixfour, and giving us $4.99. It doesn't even have to be your $4.99. If you're on Twitch and you have an Amazon Prime account, because you could link it to your Twitch account and give us Jeff
Bezos.
Bezos $4.99. He's going to, it's all on him. You get loyalty badges, you get free Switch keys from time to time, you get emotes, you get all the fun stuff. Also, we updated the high emote. It's a Pokemon trainer emote. It also has hair that's more like my hair currently. And there's like follower emotes. So if you're not following on, we don't have those yet. For whatever reason, the feature is rolling out and it's just random. Like it's not a partner thing or anything like that. It's just certain accounts get it.
Weird.
Other ones don't yet. So whenever we get that, if you just follow on Twitch, you'll get some emotes. I don't know which ones. I got to hit up somebody. I'll see how busy Alyssa is. And if she's not too busy, maybe I'll get her to do it. If not, I have some other options. Either way, you get that stuff. You get access to the supporters only Discord, where you get to name Nuzlocke Pokemon. You get priority for video games whenever we play them on Twitch. And there's like some other stuff that we're talking about. All right,
True.
We do every once in a while, but I can't think of it right now. Just go over there and you'll know. It's great. Also, you can join the Discord. Oh, the other thing, something we
was about to say,
right before this. If you're a supporter, we want to start doing Directly to You live, sorta, but for supporters in our Discord event channel, which supporters will have access to, which will be us basically just doing the show, and you guys can watch it live and like ask live Q&A or contribute to the show in other ways, where it's like, hey, Nintendo just announced this thing, talk about that, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, that's another thing. But also you can join the Discord for free. Just click the link in the description and you can say yo to whoever's there to say it to you. It's a great time. It's a fun time.
It sure is.
Anyways, you playing video games?
Yes I am. Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm stretching now. I'm playing games. The one I've mostly been playing, I talked about last week a little bit because I've just barely been playing it, and now I've been playing it a lot. It's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. I'm technically still on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 because I'm a completionist and I go through things like one at a time. Still playing as my creative character April Ludgate, although I also made a creative character Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Just haven't used him at all yet, so and man, it's very, very fun. Like Megman was asking about it in Discord, and like
in the supporters Discord.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that's like a kind of a benefit. I have notifications turned on for that channel. I don't know if you do. Do you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, so we both have.
I'm still bad about it. But...
Easiest way to get to us the fastest. Like
or Twitter, or
Twitter,
or just like say our name very loudly.
Yeah, just
out from the streets.
Parker, and then I'll hear it when you say Parker, and he'll hear it when you say AJ.
Exactly. Yeah.
Gotta replace
the teamwork right there. That's twins. That's how it works. So it's like he was asking how it runs and how it looks and stuff like that. And like, it definitely doesn't look visually as good as the other versions. I'm sure I haven't I haven't played the other version, so like I don't know what the difference visually is, but
it's not as shiny.
It's not as shiny. And literally, like, that's when you're on the menu and you're seeing your character model there. Like, I'm sure they don't look as good as the other one, but like in action, I don't know that I would notice regardless, because everything's moving and it like feels like it looks really good. So like muddy textures or anything.
Dips is the thing.
Literally none.
That would be the thing that I'm worried about. Like, is like frame rate. That is the thing that's like more important.
Totally. No, yeah. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, like I'm not the most sensitive to it, so maybe somebody else would be like, but super smooth. I guess 30 frames per second. I don't know, maybe 60, but probably not, I'd guess.
If it's 30, then that might be enough to do the other versions.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's
how you want to play the game. If it's just something that's like, I just want to play Tony Hawk on a tablet. There you go.
For me, like the pick up and play part of it is, a lot of games is important, and for this one especially, like it fits in really well for like, just doing the one more run and stuff. But man, yeah, it's Very straightforward. Just that I'm having a good time with it. I'm almost done. I just finished like one of this, like the second to last level, getting all the things for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, and then I'll be moving on to 2 and getting all the stuff for that. So, and that's the one I think I know.
The first Tony Hawk game, the first 3 Tony Hawk Pro Skater games bleed together for me. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely some levels. I'll have to play 2 and be like, do I remember this one better?
Because there's Spider-Man. I think 3 has Spider-Man and Darth Maul.
I think 4 has Boba Fett. And that's the one I feel like I've said this on here, but I don't remember. It was pre-installed in 7th grade, when we moved to the States, to Belgium, my parents thought we were going to be homeschooled. So they got us each an iMac G4. It was in 2004. So that was like real
$5,000.
And then it turned out not iMac, sorry, iBook, laptop.
Even more money, $7,000.
And it turns out we didn't end up being homeschooled, so I just had a computer, which is great. And it had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 pre-installed on it, and it ran
Tony Hawk on a Mac. That's crazy, dude.
It ran at probably 7 frames per second for most of the game, and like I didn't know the difference.
Oh my God, how?
I was just like, man, okay, like it was just slow, and I was just used to it being slow, and I wasn't too worried about it.
Well, and so like that is like a thing, especially like around like especially like the N64 era was a thing where it's like it slowed down. People call it frame drops slow down. It was just like it was just a thing.
And similarly, like, folks in Europe will know that like games would be like at 50 hertz versus 60 hertz. And so it's just the game, but slower because it's slower,
which is still a thing. Like, that's still a thing, which is weird. Like, why is that a restriction?
Yeah. So it's no, because I remember when playing my GameCube, playing Mario Kart Double Dash, it would ask me at the beginning, do you want to play 50 hertz or 60 hertz in Belgium? And I was like, 60, I guess. I don't know.
the higher number.
Yeah,
you're right. Though. You're right.
I was, thankfully so. But yeah, no. So I'll be interested after playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. Like, I feel like I remember some of those levels better in my mind, but I won't really know until I've played it. And also, definitely, I remember the earlier levels more than the later ones, because I don't know that I would have actually unlocked the later ones because I wasn't very good at it back in the day. But yeah, all the other story to say that I played Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 at like 10 frames per second and thought I was really good, and then at some point played it somewhere else on someone else's real console, and was like,
why's your game so fast?
I don't how
you got a game shark.
Zipping around. So yeah, that was a fun time. So yeah, I've been playing that among other things, but I'll let you go before I
I've been playing Mario Golf. I've been playing the story mode and that every once in a while. It's cool. It's Mario Golf. Mario Golf is Mario Golf. I don't know.
Yep.
What else have I been playing? I was playing something else. Oh, that's not what I want to talk about yet. But I am also playing Smash Bros. But I'm playing it like I'm playing. I decided yesterday that I was like, I'm going to go through and freaking get the last 20% or whatever in the World of Light so I can get all the spirits in the video game. But knowing me, I'm going to stop caring and I'm going to stop doing that entirely. So that's me this week.
Especially because like, as you do, there's definitely some of them that are hard because they're just annoying gimmicks and stuff like that.
Literally none of the spirit battles are the hard part. It's finding them for me. Like I can destroy the spirits. I already have enough spirits to be able to just like make it a normal game most of the time. But finding the ones that I missed is the annoying part.
I think I can't remember what the annoying one was. There was one it's like a dunk, it's you and one? Peach versus, I think so.
The Pauline one.
And that one was just annoying because of some extra something. I don't remember.
See, that's the thing though, which we'll get to. I was playing with Steve yesterday on the stream. And I don't know how I'm gonna like talk about Smash, because the Smash thing is like news, and I made the video about Smash.
We'll split them up. It's fine. It'll.
So I was playing with Steve yesterday, and he asked a question in Q&A. So I'll go back to that.
Yeah, we will.
So I keep telling people where it's like, a lot of people think that items and like the crazy stages and stuff like that is an equalizer. But really, it's like it's a bell curve. It's like you get to a certain point in the game where you understand the game enough to be like, oh, I'm going to F people with these with the random circumstances and stuff like that. So that's just what I did with Pauline. I just took advantage of how the video game works and killed her simply. Like it was just like, oh, well, she's dead because she does this particular way. I'm going to cheese her.
Like, man, no, but you're right. The hard part definitely is, I remember beating the game, having completed everything and being at like 97.3%. And I was like,
that's what I did. But I was at 75 or something that. Yeah. So I was like, what? Because I played through it because I wanted to see if they did do at least a couple more cutscenes. That was like the dope part about Subspace Emissary. Yeah, right. And they didn't. So like, that sucks. Yeah, there's like 4 total. The opening one, the fake out end, and then there's I think 3 alternate end ones. Like you beat one side, you beat the other side, or you beat them both, or something like that. That aren't that. There's 2. The 2 fake endings: the light ending, the dark ending. Yeah. The if you beat them both, because you're like, yo, order and chaos are bad. I must kill them both. You're gonna kill chaos? Apparently killing chaos is the bad ending. So I think we just confirmed that there's going to be 2 more sequels to Final Fantasy Origins. Something. There's going to be the killing light version next, and then you got to kill them both. But anyway, the World of Light is stupid and tedious, and I hate it. I was going to say, especially for you, it seems like it'd be, because for me, it was like most of them were really easy. And then I'd run into one that like, there's some that are just gimmicky ones, like the Pauline one. And there are some that were just like actually just straight up hard, where like, because of the spirits that they had, whatever, it was just like a difficult battle where they were too good at doing one thing or another. But then at this point, I switch to Ivysaur and I walk up to them and I charge up smash and then I let go and then they die at 0. Like that's pretty much every battle that I've done since I've started trying to get all the loose ends tied. Yep. Man. But yeah, so Smash. Was something else I was playing, but I don't remember. So I'll say another thing. I started playing the demo to Monster Hunter Stories 2. I forgot that existed. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. Ashley was very mad because you're one of like many riders that kind of seem like to be an indigenous type people or whatever, and the main girl especially that's like helping you out is the most white. Like everybody's white, but especially she is like white. And we're like, dude, we're on an island and we're wearing like very few clothes. It's like loincloth kinds of things. How is this? How? So they have magic. They have magic to not be dreaded brown. Gasp. Yeah. So, but I was like, I mean, honestly, it's a Japanese game, and like that's, I guess, pretty typical. Like I'm just not surprised, to be honest. But it's like at this point, for longer than I think is okay, I was like, yeah, it's a Japanese game, but that's like such a crappy, like, especially because in the create a character, you can like, I mean, we've made a character that was more modeled after our daughter, so like she's got kind of like, I mean, just darker skin comparatively. And so we were like, oh, never mind, she's the only one. Yep. So we're like, okay, whatever. That happens. That's the thing. Yeah. And now I don't think I've ever been more aware of it than now, and will continue to be. It's good. But in any case, game itself, aware of it, maybe it'll change eventually. Yeah. Man. Game's pretty fun though. It's I haven't gotten very far. Is it like what's are you just going through menus? Is that the battle system in this video game? So the battle system is, I mean, it's menus, yeah, for sure, but it's different than a regular turn-based RPG. In that I don't know what it'll expand out to be, but at least right now, it's a monster, you, the tutorial lady, and her monster. And I don't know eventually if that's going to be replaced by other traveling companions or something that takes her place in their monster. Going to die? I don't know, probably.
So I don't know what that'll look like in the end, but but you only control your move, and the monsters and the other people control their own moves.
Monsties.
You're so right. I'm so sorry. And so sometimes
I
your
wonder if that's like, I haven't watched many like interviews or like Treehouse Live adjacent things, if that's a thing for this video game. But I wonder if brand managers are like, Monstie. Like,
man, I want to watch one after this to find out, because there's a treehouse for it. And like, I just saw just today, they put out another video kind of thing like Monster Hunter themselves did. So that will be very interesting. This is dumb,
that's like, that's like usually a thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm still surprised that Pokemon Company, whenever we work with them, hasn't been like, it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
They're like, just freaking, Pokemon,
and like in the any official Nintendo stuff, especially like their podcast or whatever, like the minute thing with Kit and Krista, Nintendo Minute. Anytime, they're not allowed to say the Switch. They have to say the Nintendo Switch, or like the Nintendo Switch system, or something like that.
The Nintendo Switch system?
Maybe not the, but like, yeah, they have to say
even the Nintendo Switch is like wrong. Like,
yeah, but like, yeah, they're not allowed to just say
that's
Switch.
one
they
thing,
Nintendo Switch. I'm like,
and not even necessarily a brand thing. But like, that's something like, I'll go through your descriptions when you type the Switch, and I'm like,
yeah,
Nintendo Switch or just Switch. Like the Switch seems like, I don't know, it just seems weird.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, I remember Pear talking about that. Pear Snyder from
that's right,
being like, it had to be like Nintendo Switch system. I was like, okay, not right.
It's just so specific. Like, I mean,
anytime I've worked with them, because we've worked with Nintendo in the past, they haven't had any guidelines like that.
Yeah,
either.
right.
It's always just like disclosure is like the only thing that they're like sticklers about. Is like, make
and
sure that you disclose it like this.
Yeah. And it's their internal stuff, because like essentially anything they produce is some kind of marketing. So they want to get the marketing right. But then like, yeah. So it's good that they don't try to, control everybody else exactly how they say it, but still pretty funny. But yeah, long story short, Monsties. The combat system, it's different. It's probably worth trying out, just because like the actual like regular attacks are a literal rock, paper, scissors of like, you choose power, technical, or speed, and then whatever the monster chooses, if yours is the rock to their paper and their scissors, whatever, then you'll do extra damage to them. And then if you and your monster both choose the same thing to counter theirs and win it, then you do like a attack together. So it's not really RNG, but like it's controllable RNG sort of, in that
is there like a pattern to it?
There is, yeah.
Like
certain monsters are like mostly going to be
mostly
going to be power ones, but then at some point in the battle they'll like switch to something else, and you don't know what it is the first time, but then you kind of pick up on it. So most of it seems like it's like pretty well established, to where it's not like, and I think the idea of like not specifically controlling what your monster is doing is kind of nice, maybe just thematically, that like it's not like Pokemon where you're telling them a move. You're just like, oh, let's attack this thing, and you and your monster will be like, we did the same kind of thing and we got a bonus for it. But it's that sort of stuff.
We're one.
But then there's extra options that you can do past that, of like strong moves that use up some gauge or whatever. So again, haven't gotten super far. For anybody who has played it, I only went out to the part so far where I don't even know what kind of monster it was, but some monster that they were like Monstie. I think in the world they're monsters. They only become Monsties when they become your friends, which is inconsistent. But it was whatever the monster is that that they were like, there's some monsters having some fights out there, and we can't just be letting them be out there killing each other. So instead, we go out there and kill them. Like,
I mean. But it sounds like fun, sounds like some type of allegory.
Yeah. So yeah, playing that, and I think that's pretty much it. So I played like 5 minutes so far of Mario Golf. I still haven't picked it up myself because I'm playing other stuff. So I'll pick it up whenever I do. I just played a little bit of yours.
So like this is the first time that this has happened where like you started a game from my account before I did. So like every time I opened the game for a long time, I was like, yo, you have cloud data. Do you want to load the cloud data? And I was
Oh no.
no. I was like, I do not.
So frustrating.
Yeah, but I just used it and then it stopped. So
there you go.
Everything
that works. Fine now. That's working out. But yeah, that's everything I'm playing. Anything else? Did you remember the thing you were playing otherwise?
I keep debating, or not debating. I keep starting to like set up to play, like to check out xCloud stuff because it's like on iOS now through browsers and whatnot. But I need to get one of those like controller, like the backbone, like that situation. I got to do that because I don't want to like, even with the iPad, I feel like it would be annoying to like prop it up somewhere and freaking like link up. And I might even buy another Xbox controller like to use specifically for that because I don't know if pairing it to the iPad or iPhone or whatever would then make it more annoying to pair it back and forth. So like maybe I'll get like a custom controller and use that for like the Xbox and then use like the one that came on my Xbox for cloud gaming. And then
the future of
depending on how much lag and stuff like that, that might mean that I'm going to play like way more Xbox because then it's just handheld. It's just a Switch at that point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man. I haven't messed around with it at all on xCloud and stuff, but like, yeah, I'm kind of interested, but at the same time, I just don't know. You know what? I don't know. We'll see. Because I had an Apple Arcade like free subscription from getting the new computer.
Yeah, you buy literally anything and they're like, here.
Yeah. And so, but it's running out in like 8 days. So I was just like, whatever. I don't care. I literally only use it for Grindstone anyway. And I hadn't been playing it that much. So I was like, all right, well, I'm done with that. But now I don't have any games on my phone. You got games on your phone? I don't have any games on my phone that I particularly like. And I went to the app store to like find something. And I was like, man, every game is just like either very few of the games are fun, like in my opinion, or it's hard to find them that aren't just like, hey, you want an ad every 2 seconds?
Yeah. That's like the strat now. I feel like there's a lot of games that like they're promoted as just free across the board. Cause like in the early days of the App Store with like games like Angry Birds and stuff like that, there would be a light version, where it's like, hey man, you can get this without ads for 99 cents or whatever. Here's the actual version of that game. But now it's like the game is just the same and you can pay to eat the ads, but then the game is like almost worse after that. So it's like,
it's bad. So I need to pick a better game or whatever to have in the background. But if xCloud stuff works out all right, then that you could just
play Halo Infinite on your phone.
That's right. Do they have are any of them supposed to have touchscreen controls? Do you know?
There's like a section. So like when you go on the xCloud website,
nice
applet situation or whatever you want to call it, and there's like a segment of like, here's all our Xbox games that we're super proud of that run on xCloud. It's impressive, look at it, you're Master Chief on your phone, it's great. And then there's another section that's like touch supported.
Cool.
So yeah, there's like
that could be fun. Okay, I'm gonna look into that because that could be cool.
I mean, might as well if you got Game Pass. It's a perk of thing that you can take advantage of.
Indeed. All right. Any more games you playing this week?
Nope. That's it.
Well, that might be all the games we're playing this week. But you know what? We played a lot of games the first half of this year, or a certain number of games, maybe a lot, maybe not a lot. And I had this idea ahead of time, and then yesterday I saw that IGN's Nintendo voice chat did pretty much the same thing.
How dare they rob your
And I was like, well, all right, we're doing it. I think it's different. I think they were talking about, are any of the games that we're seeing now, do they look like they'll end up being
I
game of the
think
year contenders?
I think I saw the thumbnail or something for that.
Which is, a little bit different. I just wanted to kind of update. We're halfway through the year. So like halfway through the year, what's our so far like top 3 games of the year, something like that. And then maybe look forward a little bit and see what we think could kind of dethrone that. But I don't know. I guess we'll go 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place, if we can even think about that.
Okay. 3rd place off the bat for me, Mario Golf. It's great. It's Mario Golf. I have a good time playing Mario Golf. You do the thing, you're like, hey man, I'm gonna put some backspin on this. It's gonna freaking fall right in the thing. It's gonna be great. or I'm gonna put some top spin in, it's going to a little bit go further, and it's going to roll in there, and thing is going to be great. I still am supposed to like play it on stream with Lee. I think we're playing it next week. I played on stream with Bob. Obviously, that was fun. So it's fun playing games on stream with Bob, unless he's being stupid and dumb. Like when he was playing Lost Levels yesterday. He was playing Lost Levels yesterday, and I was like, basically, I was like, this game's like Sonic, and he's like, no, it's not. Sonic's just a platformer. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a platformer, but it's like, it's the Pokemon thing. It's like the way you play it does not mean that that's the way it was designed to be played. Yeah. Like Sonic very clearly is not like about going fast. It's not about speed, but speed is a key part of it. It's like it's the reward system. You need to like know how to play the game to be able to play the game optimally. Whereas Mario, you don't have to understand the level to play through the level. Lost Levels, on the other hand, is different. You kind of do have to understand the level to play through the level. And that's what I was talking about on that. But anyways, he was streaming that, and we were streaming Mario Golf like 2 weeks ago or something like that. That was the line of thought there for that. Nice. Mario Golf's fun. I will play it intermittently for the rest of the time. The Nintendo Switch system is the active Nintendo console.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I need to play it a little bit more to be able to have opinions on it, but I mean, I'm sure it's great, you know. So there's that. My number 3.
One thing to this game, Diddy Kong's not in it. Game sucks. Bad game.
Oh, it's so true.
Diddy Kong's not even in it.
Yep, pretty much the worst, honestly. Okay, my number 3. It's hard. It's kind of a tie between some other things, but I think I'm gonna say Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD right now. I don't know. It could, honestly, I could make an argument to make it higher. Like it's very good.
I'll download that at some point.
Yeah, it honestly reminds me a little bit. Yeah, it reminds me kind of like Smash and stuff in the sense that like, just, you know what things you want to do and then you do them, and then like combos and that kind of stuff. It's just like, so far sometimes there's still an element, especially depending on how the character is statted, where like, because you know you can change that stuff around with like how fast your flips happen and how high you ollie and stuff. So there's sometimes where like
manuals are.
Yeah, right. So like I could think like, oh, I can ollie and do a double kickflip and get to that grind right there, and then I'll try to do it, and then I don't. And it's not because the game's doing something wrong. It's just because like
your character's not good at that.
Yeah, exactly. Or I haven't statted them right, or I changed it. Like, and you can change it on the fly too. So like, there's been a couple of times where I'll have, like trying to do a certain jump for just like get the E in the skate that you're collecting, and get SKAT, go to the menu, change my ollie height and my hang time, and then go get that. Like,
you're a cheater.
I'm like, all right, whatever. So, but it is fun also, like trying to.
I thought you meant like in between things. Like, all right, I couldn't do it that time. Maybe try these stats.
I mean, but some of it also is like there's in the, I don't remember what it's called, the city level, whatever that is. There's one where you have to do certain roof gaps. And like you can't make them unless your speed, ollie, and hang time are just like all the way maxed out. So I was like, you know, theoretically, I'd like to build a well-balanced character where I do the whole like, and I add one here and one there throughout. But otherwise, I would just have to like finish everything else and then come back to that last thing, which would be a nuisance. So it's nice that you can just like, at least if not, even if you couldn't do it during the level, at least between levels, go and change it so that you could do that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I guess you could just change characters, but it's great. Yeah, I'm enjoying it that much. So it would be number 3, maybe even number 2, but I don't know. I'll do honorable mentions at the end. So what about you? What's your number 2?
Number 2 is Knockout City. Very fun game. Yes, game is very fun. I did not expect the game to be fun.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be some Fortnite nonsense. I thought it was going to just be stupid and I was never going to touch it again. But it's fun. It's satisfying to like hit people with the ball. It's satisfying to catch the ball. It's satisfying to catch the ball and then hit people in the ball with the ball in return for them darn throw the ball at you. It's great.
Man.
Dodgeball is fun. I had
dodgeball is fun. I mean, in theory. So
the only time I really got to play dodgeball consistently was when I went to day camp, and I hated day camp. But but dodgeball is fun though. So it was like I'm like, if I gotta go to day camp, I'm playing dodgeball, and you can't stop me, or else I'm done here. I'm out of here. So dodgeball was like the only reason I'm like, all right.
7-year-old AJ walking down the street back home with the dodgeball hanging low, like dodgeball.
Like that would be the thing. My dad would like, do you want to go to camp today? I'm like, nah. And then he'd be like, but they're playing dodgeball. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm going to day camp.
I'm gonna beat these kids. Just like
freaking yeet the ball. It was great.
Yeah.
You get the trick shots, you throw the ball off the wall, smack Billy with the ball. It's great. Fun time.
Dodgeball is fun. Also exhausting. Like I remember playing it as an adult after I played it in middle school or high school or whatever, PE and that kind of stuff. But then also I was a youth leader.
They banned dodgeball at our PE.
No.
And like I think I want to say after like 6th grade, it was just a thing that we couldn't do anymore. Because people like tried to end people. Like, they're like drilling the ball, like they're trying to throw the ball through.
And was you guys were you using like the big rubber balls?
Yeah, like the red rubber ball.
We were mostly, I think, would usually use the like smaller kind of foamy balls. You know what I'm talking about? That like you can.
No, not us. Using freaking kickballs, like that situation.
Yep. Kickball's one I didn't play very much of. But yeah, I was usually
kickball like 6 years. Like the only gym thing that I have done as an adult. I think like, I haven't played dodgeball as an adult, but I've played kickball as an adult.
I always wanted to play more kickball, and it just didn't happen.
Like I'm not counting like basketball and football as that, because football and basketball seem like they transcend gym.
Yes,
but
that's
kickball
true.
is very specifically a gym activity. And that every once in a while, my brother's like, "Yo, I got the bases. Everybody want to get together and play a kickball." Pre-COVID, obviously, it's dead.
Interesting.
Now. It's dead now. We're never playing kickball again. But anyway, Knockout City is great. Play it. It's like you get 10 hours for free or something like that. And so the first time I streamed it, me and Bob and Ian streamed it a couple of times because we're cracked or broken. We're gods at the game. And then the second time we played it, we like ran out of time or something like that. And I was like, I'll give him the $30. Like I had enough fun with this game for $30. Here's $30. And then you get something. I don't know. I don't really care. It's like the thing where a lot of people are like, is YouTube Premium worth $10 or $12 or whatever it is? For me, it's like a lot of times when I give money to that sort of thing, like a subscription service, it's like, is the overall thing worth that money? Like for me, I didn't get Twitch Turbo for a very long time because I only watched Twitch for Bob. But now that I use Twitch as a streamer and I watch more streamers that are my friends and stuff like that, I'm like, Twitch is worth the $10 a month or whatever. That's kind of how I feel about Knockout City. It's like, I had enough fun with the game where it's like, I'll give you $30 to play more of this game and not have to think.
Have you played more since playing it with Ian that time?
Yeah. I play it every once in a while. Like I think me and Leah played it a couple times with some of our friends and like on Discord and stuff like that. And like I'll pick it up. Like I think I played it a little bit on Xbox to try to see what the difference was, like if it like was smoother or anything like that. And also I was like testing different Xbox games just to see like the 120 frames per second situation, because now I have a monitor that can do that. I don't think Knockout City is one of those games that supports that. But I was playing it on there too every once in a while.
Nice.
It's a fun game. It's a good game. You should try it.
Neato. My number 2 is
Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1.
Tony Hawk 2 Skater 2. No, it's new Pokemon Snap. I know I'm stealing your thunder a little bit because you're about to swoop in, but it's a good old time. I like it a lot. It's fun. It was the game I was playing when we got the call about our baby. So you know what? It's got a lot of brownie points in there too. No, it's a good time. There's a couple of things that I wish were a little bit different about it, but generally it's like, it's new. It's Pokemon Snap, and Pokemon Snap is great. Like I'm not going to sink in all of my time into it, but the time that I did spend with it, I had a nice, relaxing, happy time. And also it was just fun to play with Ashley too, and like have something that we it's an easy learning curve. It is funny to watch how like nobody who doesn't know what it is understands the
appeal. It's
the
it's Animal
appeal.
Crossing.
Yeah, and like we had some people over. It was Ashley's cousin and her husband were over, and Ashley was like, "Oh, Parker, you should show them Pokemon Snap." And I was like, okay. And so I turned it on, and then like first playthrough, I think one of them played, or maybe I played I don't know. One of us played the first playthrough, and both of them were just like, I don't understand why this, like, I don't understand what's interesting about it. And then replayed the same level again. And then suddenly replaying the same level was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. And then by the end, Kenny, her cousin's husband, was like, I might pick this up. Yeah, maybe. And I was like, oh, how is this? Like, it's just game. Interesting. Like, it's just such a weird way that happens. But I think it was the same for Ashley. Like the first time she saw it, she was like, what? This is so weird.
I think less about, I just literally made the Animal Crossing comparison.
Yeah.
But I think even more so than the Animal Crossing, I think people are bad at understanding why Pokemon Snap is good, because people are bad at talking about why Pokemon Snap is good, or even sure. The point of Pokemon Snap, because people usually start the description with like, oh, it's a game about taking pictures of Pokemon. It's not a game about taking pictures of Pokemon. Taking pictures of the Pokemon is like, it's the same thing as like Sonic. It's like the reward. It's like, oh, you made that moment happen, and you took the picture to capture that moment, and then that gives you a reference point to try to do it better.
And you can fail or succeed at that reward a little bit too. Like you can try to get the reward and like not quite grasp it and be like, oh, that's a cool thing happened, but I missed like the picture that they use pretty often in the promotional material of Pidgeot flying down and grabbing the Magikarp.
Yeah.
I made the event happen like 3 times and tried to get the picture and got it.
I just got his feet.
Or like I got the Pidgeot and I was like, wow, what a great picture. But it's actually supposed to be a picture of Magikarp or something like that, where it's like, it urges you to want to play it some more because, interesting things are happening, and it just, has your reward center in your brain.
And I think even better than the original, it does a good job at like incentivizing you to find those moments, because you know that they're there. That every Pokemon has a 4-star interaction, so there's something that you can get them to do that is interesting. And then once you get that, or once you get the ones that come before that, you're like, oh, I gotta get the other stars now.
And whether like for better or for worse, I mentioned Fez on Twitter of like the games that I have been playing this year, and that one as well. It's something like the way that my brain works is I'll complete everything as I'm going through it. So like, that's more or less how I do with like all Mario games or like Tony Hawk or whatever. But with Fez, it has a lot of branching paths where like you do this and then you can go to this level or this level, but I can't go like that one, backtrack and this one, because then it's like each of them have a ton of branches. So you just need to just go back later. And similarly with new Pokemon Snap, like you need to play the level. You can't get every single picture of every single Pokemon because some of them are happening at the same time on either side of you. We're like, on that side there's a Dodrio, on that side there's a Tauros or whatever, and you're like, well, I gotta pick.
Also, like on a similar line of thought to that, like you can't do that in the sense of like, oh, well, I'm going to get the top star ranking for each individual level on each individual time of day in that order, because it's like the more you complete, the more you unlock, the more you have to complete those to be able to unlock more retroactively.
So a speed run isn't the same. Like I feel like speed runs of the original one are just like play the level once through and go like do and like get everything, and like maybe not quite, because some things you might need to multitask or like do it a couple of times to get stuff. But whereas in this, like, you just legitimately need to do it again, and it's fun to do it again. That's a benefit, because otherwise it would suck if it was but that's the point of games, is they're fun. So that's my number 2. What does your number 1 happen to be?
New Pokemon Snap. It's a great game. I still got like, there's still a lot of stuff that I have to go back and do. Like I still didn't do any of the legendary stuff. There's obviously I still got.
I don't even know about the legendary stuff. I don't think I know there's.
I won't say.
Okay.
I think I found one. I think I found one, and I like got a crappy picture of it, so I gotta like go back and get a better picture of it. No, I found two because I found Celebi, and that was like,
I did find Celebi.
That was like the day of or the day before.
Does that only unlock after you finished the game?
I don't know,
because
I did it after I beat the game, but I don't know if you could get it before.
Because I remember doing that level, and I didn't have a newer star level of that, or a newer like upgrade of that same level, and I was like, oh, Celebi's here this time. Weird. And I on another level, the underwater one, I went down to there's an area called Lugia's lair or something like that. No Lugia. So like I wonder if after you beat the game is when those legendaries start populating those areas. So I should go back to Lugia's lair now and see if a straight Lugia happens.
I gotta find the
because that is fun. I do like legendaries.
And there's like, I mean, there part of it is like disappointing in the sense of like not even the things that we've talked about where it's like the evolutions and stuff like that, but just like the potential that they had to do more that would have made the game even more like without even that much work, honestly, made the game more of a watercolor thing. Like I think there's still a lot of more moments for that. But like if there was like a 1 in 4,000 chance to find a shiny Pokemon, that how hype would that be? Like because shiny Pokemon didn't exist when the first game came out. So like if they did stuff like that, I think, and I mean with the advent of DLC, maybe they still can. But I think that in particular could have made this game that much more better at what it is. Because like it's a little bit of everything. Like it's a little bit of a puzzle game. It's a little bit of a Metroidvania. You know, it's a little bit of like a traditional arcade game. But adding that would have just increased that value of all of those things.
I'll also say, I mean, the branching paths, a lot of them are cool, but a lot of the times the branching paths kind of come back to the same one endpoint. It's not always the case. Like the underwater one has 2 different ending points, I think. And I think that's maybe it. I think all the other ones have the same endpoints. And that was actually something that was kind of fun in the original that I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more of too. Is actually, the underwater one is a perfect example of the thing that I'm talking about. But like that you could start a level and there's an area that if you unlock this area, then it's like, oh, there's actually 2 different levels in the same level, you know, and that's like those kinds of things. Like I think there's an element in this game of mystery that could have been expounded upon that just wasn't exactly. But I think they did a perfect job, a great job at the things they were trying to accomplish, but they could have set their sights even higher and done some extra cool things. But I mean, DLC, or like maybe if this is a series that has come back now, you know, for all we know, this is the next one for the next 20 years.
And like, or they could do new Pokemon Snap 2 in 2026 or something, and that has shiny Pokemon and brings back evolutions and, you know, more branching paths and like all that stuff. But for what the game is, I still love it a lot. It's a cool game. I hope that Pokemon mainline games take notes with how engaging the world can be. More show, not tell.
Agreed. My number 1 so far for the year. Do you have a guess?
No.
Bravely Default 2.
Oh
yeah,
I forgot about
Good job.
I forgot that game existed. I forgot entirely about that game.
I like how 2 of the games that are in my top 3 are provided through you in some way or another. Tony Hawk from Activision.
But I mean, I didn't provide Tony Hawk. You provided Tony Hawk. But you wanted the review copy. I didn't do anything about that other than say, yo, PK. You got any people like I think it was specifically Screenwave.
Okay.
Like, yo,
nice.
Activision doing anything with Tony Hawk, and it was like, yep. Because like I have people like that I've talked to for like Spyro and like Crash Team Racing and all that stuff. But I think it just it was easier going through our network. To go like, yo.
Yep.
Where's the coach?
And it's great. And I'm very happy about it. I'm in the back of my mind. I'm still trying to think about content. Well, Yeah, I mean, I think I have, like I said last week, I'm gonna make just a video of like some skateboarding games
Sports.
on Switch. But yeah, I just extremes. That would be more fun for sure. Just like,
yeah, I think you could definitely like make more of a video out of it if it was extreme sports.
Yeah, because like, I mean, everybody knows,
because
like,
that way you wouldn't have to like
race,
it wouldn't have to necessarily be everything. It could just be like the highlights amongst that stuff.
So I had actually thought about that and forgot that I thought about that. But yeah, it's hard because like we both know that like not a lot of people really watch 1080 or wave race videos or whatever, and that's fine. Like but I hope everybody that's listening that you do, only because they're really fun and you would have a good old time, you know. But also it is what it is. It'll be fun to make because I'll enjoy talking about it. So that's the important part. Bravely Default 2, #1 game this year. I haven't played the first 2 games in the series at all, but this one was really, really good. It's just like, elevator pitch for it, if you haven't heard me say it already, is like it's just a standard turn-based RPG, tropes, all that kind of stuff, but with some of the quality of life things of older games refined. And that's pretty much, you know, the super straightforward pitch.
Was anything about the game confusing because you didn't play the first?
Not even a little bit. I don't even.
How does Bravely? Is there going to be?
I think
a Bravely second too.
Honestly, who even knows? Could very well be, because the first, it was Bravely Default and then Bravely Second, and those are immediate sequels, and then this one is a fully separate story. Yeah, exactly. So it's like how there was like Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2.
Yeah, bad game. This is exactly. No, this is dumb. If anything, it should have been. This should have been the direct sequel, and Bravely Second should have been a different thing because it's a different name.
Yep. So it's very silly, but luckily I didn't feel. I'm curious. I mean, like maybe there were things, nods that I missed. I'm sure there were, but I wasn't sure for sure. And the game's just fun. It's the kind of thing that like you can kind of cheese some stuff if you want to, which is always a good time. Where like I remember right towards the beginning of the game, I was like, man, you can cut grass in the same way that you can in like Zelda. And if you do, sometimes it'll drop some items, and sometimes it's like 3 gold or like 20,000 gold or whatever, or like swords that are like, dude, I can't even buy this sword in the shop yet. It's like an early sword of the next area that I can't get to yet. So like, it's the best sword that I could have at this part of the game. Every area you go to, that ends up being the case. If you chop grass for long enough, you can find that. So like, it's there if you want it, if you want to be a little extra OP. So I remember towards the beginning being like, yeah, man, that's, chopping grass. Well, and I'm pretty sure it was Alec was like, never stop cutting the grass. Like you will be rewarded. I was like, all right, man. So I did. And it was fun. But yeah, like not having actual random encounters, but like having the enemies in the overworld that you can surprise them. And then, it's still random a lot of times what exactly will be in there. So like you could see like an orc kind of thing, and then you hit it, and then it turns out it's 2 orcs and 3 wolves or something. So you don't know what exactly is there, but at least having some kind of identification that it's not like, just like
Tales of Symphonia, I think does it.
Or like same thing. I mean, Monster Hunter Stories too. Same thing.
Yeah, like, and Tales of Symphonia, one of the Tales of games, probably all of them now.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just like a nondescript blob that kind of looks like a monster of some sort, and then you walk into that, and it's like 3 soldiers and a goblin or something.
That always is funny when like, the thing in the overworld is like some small tiny little rabbit, and then you go fight it, and it's like, oh, and he brought his ogres. Yeah. So I only got to the first ending, which is it's not a game with multiple endings that are option, like where if you do this thing it'll lead to this ending, or this one will lead to, it's like there's a first ending, and then you can go back and there's 2 like more endings that you can do. I guess you don't restart it in the same way though. It's just like I think like all that happens is your final battle didn't happen or something different. Like yeah, pretty much. Like you can, it's more interesting than that in that like there's a little bit of extra story, like 2 more chapters or something. But
sorry, where you go to leave forward, it's like, hey man, I trained more. Now my Onyx is a Steelix.
Wait, what games does that happen in?
It happens. I know it happens in Gen 5.
Oh, okay.
It happens in other gens too, but the one that I can remember the most specific is Gen 5.
That's good. I always have like, I love Gen 2, but some of the pacing in that game is always a bit weird because like the Elite Four is halfway through it's not halfway through the game. It's, because like Kanto ends up being so easy that like but everything being so low leveled at that point, it's always weird. But that's besides the point. In any case, that's my number one game. So
they're like crap on Johto though. They're like, they're like, Kanto ain't crap. I mean, Johto ain't crap. We got level 80 Pokemon here or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you're post game content, dude. I'm like, shake my head.
Yeah. What a time. So, second part of this conversation, that'll be shorter, but very effective. Oh, do you have any honorable mentions?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Super Mario Bowser's Fury. That's one that came to mind in any case.
Oh, Bowser's Fury is cool too.
Cool.
I had a fun time with that, but I already played that video game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I played a little game called Olija towards the beginning of the year. That was fun. Monster Hunter Rise, I haven't gotten enough into, but there's some other games that I played.
Also, I forgot Monster Hunter Rise existed.
Yeah, every once in a while I'm dipping back into it, and like every time I'm like, yeah, this could be fun, but it's just so intimidating to boot it up compared to other things that aren't as intimidating to boot up.
I get it. Obviously, I get it. I understand the appeal because it's a very similar appeal to like Smash, but I just don't care.
You haven't gotten
exactly. I just don't care, and the gameplay isn't fun to me. So like that's more the reason why I don't play it. And I'll get into that divide later.
So the second half of this conversation then real quick is, what games do you think have a chance for you of knocking out any of those ones and making their way into the top three?
I mean, Brilliant Diamond. Brilliant Diamond. I get it. I freaking mix them up so much that I was like, he's a shining diamond.
Brilliant, Shining, Diamond, Pearl. And here I'll read the ones that are coming out, first party ones at least that are coming out. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Skyward Sword HD, No More Heroes 3, not technically first party, but whatever. WarioWare Get It Together, Metroid Dread, Mario Party Superstars, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Advance Wars Reboot Camp.
Pokemon could probably at least take number 2. I think number 3 is up for grabs between Mario and Mario Party. Who knows? But probably I think WarioWare and Pokemon have a chance. I don't know for sure if it's going to happen. I think Pokemon probably will be in the top 3 somewhere because it's Pokemon. But I don't know how high. I don't know if it would be like my number 1 or anything like that, unless they drastically improve the video game, because the pacing sucks. The pacing in Gen 4, trash. I know Gen 4 is like a lot of people's favorite gen, like Lee. His favorite gen. I don't like Gen 4. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I like it more than Gen 1, like not better than Kanto, but better than the Generation 1 games.
Right.
But outside of like the improvements it made to like competitive battling and like Wi-Fi battles and stuff like that, just the structure of the game, don't like it. Not good. I remember its set pieces and stuff like that. Like I feel like I remember, even though I've played Gen 3 and Gen 4 only once each, pretty sure, Gen 4 does stand out in my mind more for just some unique world stuff. I feel like because that's where there's the Ash Mountain, right? Is that Gen 4? You're talking about when you run around to collect the ash?
Yeah.
That's Gen 3.
Is that Gen 3? Okay.
Yeah. So
the mock bike
like
and stuff. Is that Gen 3 or Gen 4? That's Gen 3. Maybe I'm remembering Gen 3 a lot more. I do remember the Steel Town with like where that place. Jets. Okay. I'm definitely mixing them up then in that case. Never mind.
So Gen 4, the main reason why I don't really like Gen 4 is, like I said, the pacing's bad. And to be more specific, and I wouldn't say the first 4 gym badges, You can blaze through them. They're super fast. And then the game grinds to a halt. Like the game. And
that's the one with a lot of water, right?
No, that's Gen 3.
Like Gen 3 left much more of an impression on me than I thought it did.
The Gen 4 is the one with the Psyducks. You like freaking walk in, like the Psyducks are sick. You gotta give them medicine. Gen 4 has a lot of snow. Gen 4.
Yeah.
Clean your badges in Gen 4. Gen 4 is the one with the library, and that's another part of the game that's like freaking just kicks the pacing across the field. Bad game. I mean, not bad game, but bad.
I think I'm gonna agree with you when it's all said and done. That like, Gen 3 I remember more. So this will be interesting. I mean, it'll be more, first time feeling kinds of things. I'm looking at some of the
thing is like Gen 3 is amongst my favorite gens. Like I love Gen 3. But Gen 4 is just like I like Gen 4 because of Heart Gold and Soul Silver. The mechanics are good.
True.
As good as they can be in an RPG.
I do wonder, I mean, we'll be talking about something related to this later, but yeah, like what things we've said it before, what improvements they end up making. Like that'll be an interesting thing to see. Because right now it just looks like graphics is the only change. Yeah. So I'm sure they'll have changed.
And it's like a
more stuff
linear. It's like a more linear progression for graphics than they've ever done. Where it's literally just like, okay, we're going to try to translate what this game looked like then to now.
Probably, I mean, because it's the first time that they had the opportunity to do a lot more. So they were like, oh, either we do a lot more or we do it pretty faithful. And so I guess they just went that way.
Yeah. And like, it's the first time that they offloaded it to a new team.
Yeah, right. Totally.
So I'd imagine it's a lot easier to be like, do this, make this again, than to be like, hey, reimagine this into something new, because then you're rolling the dice. It's like, I don't know if people are
honestly, I didn't include this one in the conversation from 2 weeks ago with Advance Wars and all that stuff, but like kind of another 2021 game that Nintendo's, I mean, Game Freak, Pokemon Company, whatever, is offloading to a third party to do a remake to be able to work on other stuff. It's different because it's Pokemon, so it's still an ongoing franchise.
Do it like it wasn't like a remake that people were like, "Is this going to happen?" It was just like it was a when. It was like, all right, it's been more than 10 years, which in and of itself is a problem because like they never said that. Like that was never something that came out of Game Freak's mouth. That it was like, yo, every 10 years we're remaking a Pokemon game. It's like, yo, the past 3 gens. Every 10 years or so, they made a new Pokemon game. So therefore, they're always going to do it for the rest of all time. It's a rule.
I mean, it's the Sakurai rule, like
exactly. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah. No, but that's true. I think for me, ones that could knock out the other top 3 are, I don't know about Skyward Sword, probably not, but possibly it'll be my first time playing it. So like, if I'm one of the people that are like, this game is great, then maybe. But Metroid Dread.
Oh yeah, Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread would probably be there too. My top 3 might be entirely different.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, I don't know which of these.
I think new Pokemon Snap might still be on there.
Yeah. I could imagine.
It might get knocked down to 3.
It depends which of these games I play also, because like, if I just don't have time to play some games, then I just won't play some of the games. But
I'm going to play most of them because like at the very least I'll play it on stream.
And a lot of them are so like, they're kind of unknown quantities where like, for all we know, No More Heroes 3 is super up either of our alleys or not at all. Yeah. And it feels like not a lot in between.
The track record is not looking great from the games that I've played. I mean, not the game that I played.
Did you play 1 or 2?
I played Strikes Again. And then Rob was like, don't play 1 and 2 on the Switch because it'll probably paint your expectations poorly of what the new game is going to be. And I'm like, well, all right, well, I guess it's all riding on this game. Hopefully it doesn't suck.
Yeah. So yeah, Metroid Dread, Shin Megami Tensei 5, if I play it, it has, it's an RPG. Sometimes those do great, sometimes they're kind of run of the mill, so we'll just see where that pans out.
There's a 3.5% chance I like that game.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's, and then Advance Wars is coming out too. I don't know, that would win. I doubt it takes one of the top 3, but I don't know. Could be fun. So yeah, that's some of our games of the half year. Our game of the year could have, if things had gone differently and Nintendo had listened up a little bit, could have been an ultra realistic F-Zero game, but it won't be because it doesn't exist and they turned it down.
Rip, dude. They were like, oh, there's that dude Falcon. he wants that game, right? F him.
Yeah. So this was. Did you? I actually went and watched Game Explain's video of it to like kind of get the full context and stuff. It was interesting talking about it.
I saw this and I was like, cool.
Did you read the articles, like the quotes themselves, or just kind of?
I was like, because like, I mean, I care about F-Zero to the extent that like my friend Falcon cares about F-Zero, and that's cool. Sure. It's Golden Sun. It's Golden Sun to me. It's like I personally couldn't give an F about F-Zero and its current state. I don't care even a little bit.
You can give 0 Fs actually.
Exactly. I can give 0 Fs, dude. But I mean, especially if it's just like the same game, but it looks better.
Yeah.
Like that's the least interesting thing of even franchises that I like.
So the interesting thing with this pitch is, so basically, yeah, it's the guy that he worked at Nintendo for a while and is off doing his own thing now. And he made carved snowboarding most recently on the Oculus Quest. And so he had an interview with Game Explain, and they just asked him about a whole bunch of games that he made with Nintendo, Star Fox, 1080, some of this other stuff. And he mentioned this pitch to Nintendo that he and his team made a little prototype of, it's not an ultra realistic F-Zero game, just graphically specifically, and maybe not even graphically, but it was like, okay, well, these cars are flying. How are they flying? They've got 4 boosters on them, like one under each corner. And they made it to where there's physics where like, if one of the boosters breaks, then like your car is like kind of tilting down, and then the other one breaks, and then the whole car like flips over and all this kind of stuff, where it's like it ends up just being, a big old mess of things. So, but the interesting bit is that maybe this isn't just specifically for F-Zero, but broader, but maybe it's also related to this game. I don't know. But he said, we were stuck in a catch-22 working with Nintendo because we'd say to them, we want to do this F-Zero game. Can you give us all this money? And they'd say, well, you don't have enough people. And I'd say, well, if we had money, we could get people. And so it was ridiculous. It was forever this ridiculous catch-22 with them wanting us to make a game, us pitching a game, them saying we don't have enough people. All right, so what do? Do we just find a lump of cash somewhere, then get the people, then go back to the proposal? It was difficult working with them. I thought that was just an interesting situation. Yeah,
I don't know about that, because I don't think that that's that hard of a problem to solve, honestly. On his end, where it's just like you get people, and they, especially if you're like this respected dude in the industry and blah blah blah, and you're like, yo, we're making this game, Nintendo's going to give us funding, but we need more people. You in?
Yeah,
dick. Like
I guess the part that I wouldn't know too is like, how long do you have to have had a person to be able, or like what assurances do you need to be able to make to where like if the pitch falls through, that kind of thing. And like, do you have to have had them long enough for it to be established? Do you have, those kinds of things? Because if it's literally like, we've just got people on board here, like, oh, we just found an extra 20 people that we know, and they said they're on board. And Nintendo's like, cool. But if they're like super closely vetting that, then that's, a different situation. So, but still, yeah, I wonder, all things considered, with like taking this, how many other pitches,
how many times does that
just happen? Don't? Yeah. And he said too, Nintendo are very wary about using old IP because it's such a huge thing for them to do. It's much easier to go with a new idea, a new IP, than to reuse an old one, which totally checks out.
Yeah. That talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
And especially like it's easy for them to go with a new idea or go with the current ideas that have been working continuously. It's like you can use old IP, and I think they're starting to understand that more, because like the thing about what in media in general across the board, IP is powerful. It doesn't have to be the biggest IP in the world. As long as it's established, you can make it a giant thing.
Yeah.
Iron Man, hello.
Yeah.
How you doing? Ant-Man, like
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Like these are freaking billion-dollar movies. Whereas 6 years ago, who
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Ant-Man 6 years ago? I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
so like if they can do that,
If we knew who it was, then the Justice Friends in Dexter's Lab, if we knew who Iron Man was, would have included Iron Man in it,
yep,
and not the incorrigible
and
honk or
yeah,
something.
something like Indomitable or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds more right.
But yeah, that crap. Like they have some of the most powerful IP in the world, and they may not know it, but that includes IP like freaking Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
Like people know what Duck Hunt is. So it's just
true.
like use it, man. Use it. But also I get it, because like along with that comes expectations, So like F-Zero is like this game that is like in this weird place where it's like a lot of people know about it and they care about it in theory. So they have to make a game that's very good.
Yeah.
And therefore will probably cost a lot of money for them to make, a lot more money than they're willing to spend on a game that has a sales track record that F-Zero does.
Yeah.
So it's like, we gotta make this blockbuster game for this franchise that people love, but in theory, but it's only in theory. So it's like theory is not going to reimburse us for the money that we have to invest for a game that's worthy of a franchise with this type of mind share.
Yeah. Which is why it's so surprising that Metroid Dread is getting is just getting the fanfare it's getting the, production budget it got and stuff like that. Like maybe it was just cheaper to make than we expect, because with them using Mercury Steam, like it's just not as expensive as them doing it themselves, because they're, I don't know, like maybe, but
or just a lot of like things lined up in their favor, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like they had to be working on the Samus Returns before the whole thing where people remade it and it got taken down and got DMCA. And then a couple months later they came out with this game. It's like, oh yeah, that's why, because they're literally making this video game themselves. Like once that happened and they saw how popular that was, and then you got to imagine like whatever their sales expectations were at the very least met with the 3DS version, that they're like, oh, okay. And plus Prime 4, the excitement behind that being the biggest announcement at E3, and then trending again when it got delayed, all of that combined tells Nintendo like, oh, Metroid has clout. we should invest in this.
And like, I think it's great. They're taking big risks sometimes, and so it's the question for them. It's like, which big risks are worth taking? And obviously this is one that's going to have paid off, but like, would F-Zero pay off? How can they make it so that for as big a risk as F-Zero would be, it can be as small as possible, or pay off as high as possible if it does. Because
I think it's less of it's not even really, in my mind, it doesn't seem like a monetary risk as much as it seems like a risk to F-Zero.
Yes,
like
100%.
I don't think that it's a risk to Nintendo. If they make an F-Zero game and it sells 250,000 copies, they'll be fine, because I guarantee you they're going to budget for that. The bigger thing is like, if they make an F-Zero game after such a long time that people don't like, and there's no sign of any life beyond that, that's terrible for the brand. I mean, it's like, we've had videos before, or like I've had a video idea for like months, and then I'll be like, I really want to wait for the right time to do this, because like I think it'll be really cool, but I want it to be at a time where it's going to pan out or something like that. And then either I do it at a time that it works out great, and it's like, yay, that got the attention that I wanted it to get because it was something I was passionate about, or I do it at a different time, and then it's just like, all right, well, it didn't really pan out, and I did it and it was fun, but like, kind of sucks that idea is done now and there's nothing more to be done with it. Like it's the same kind of thing where like you want to leverage those things in the right way, because it's kind of like you've only got one chance with something like this. And so hopefully they use it well. We do have a question. This was from Q&A, but I pulled it up to here. Martin Liz 93 asked, there's a division to this F-Zero realistic game. Would you rather it have been made with this risk or keep waiting for an F-Zero with a closer take?
And then there's a second question. Each game has a unique theme for its time. How would you guys see F-Zero's tone and style change for this era?
I think that like with that description of like it being realistic gameplay wise, I would prefer that because I just think that would make the gameplay more interesting. But I don't know if that would be super successful because I think the barrier already feels like for a lot of people that F-Zero is like not too complicated, but too sweaty almost.
Yeah. For sure.
And it's like, why would I play that? I could play Mario Kart. And I'm not saying this. I'm done with Mario Kart. I've said it so many times. I'm sick of it. Until Mario Kart 9, I want nothing to do with it. I'm out of here. But like for people where it's like Mario Kart is already this huge success. If I want the F-Zero fix, I can go to Big Blue in that game or whatever, right?
But it would be like the game starting with a 200cc mode for the I mean that's that's kind of more like what F-Zero is essentially.
Outright don't like 200cc mode.
I don't play 200cc mode barely at all. Like it's possible obviously, and like I think I've got gold medals on most of them, or like the 3-star gold medals on most of them, but like those were, once I got them, I was done.
Thing too, where a lot of people I'll see say that, and because I follow Falcon, he follows a lot of F-Zero people. That's like something that they talk about and like scoff at a lot, where it's like a law 200cc, it's nothing,
which is intimidating.
People want to do more than 200cc. Like people don't even want to do 200cc.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's a tricky position to be in because it's like especially at this point, it's kind of like it feels similar to the Melee kind of thing where it's like if Smash leaned harder into what Melee is, it would be perfect for the Melee fans, and other people just wouldn't like it because it's like
else. Because like even me, like I don't want Smash to be Melee. Because like a lot of Melee fans like it because the game fights you to like play it almost. And it's like, I'm good because I can break my hands to play this video game. Like I can flick the stick and press the L button and move the C stick more than anybody can. I broke my hand 4 times, but it's fine because I'm good at the video game. I don't think that's what makes Smash good. And I'll get to that. But like a big part of Smash that is cool about Smash is that the execution barrier is very low. Like very low intentionally. And that's never been the hard part. The hard part is always the mental game. It's what is my opponent going to do? I hit them here. Where are they going to go next? So I can hit them again and eventually they'll die. It's like that sort of thing. Or where do I go to make sure that they can't hit me? And if I had to fight the game to be able to play that cat and mouse match, I don't want to. Sign me out. Like.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for sure that F-Zero, whatever new iteration, has that upper threshold, and it like has things that can challenge even the best F-Zero players to be even better. But it can't be just
floor, that. High skill ceiling.
It's got to be.
That is the most important thing for a successful competitive game. It needs to be accessible, but have room to be expanded on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I mean, I think but if it's between these things, to answer the question, between the realistic or closer take one, I'd choose the realistic one as well, just because it's different, it's more fun, it'll be just interesting to see, even if it's like worse. Like it would be interesting. I would feel bad for F-Zero fans if it's going to fail either way, though. I would say classic, because then at least F-Zero fans get a new game that kills the franchise. You know what I mean? Like if that's what's going to happen, then like I'd rather Falcon get a new game to play in that regard. But I'd much rather have something that he would enjoy, but also continues the franchise.
I don't know which one I prefer, because they have GX, and that's the game that they like, and that's kind of currently their last hurrah. I think that I don't know, if the thing is to try for more sales, I think I would prefer that they try for that, because at least in that situation, there's not the what if, there's not the what if they tried that. Because they tried the current F-Zero formula and it succeeded kind of once. And then after that, it did the Metroid thing and kind of fell off a cliff, except it didn't have the prime, bump of like, oh, okay, well, now this is the best selling thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, that's true. As far as each game had a unique theme for its time, how do you guys see this F-Zero's tone and style change for this era? I mean, I changed more than just the tone and style, I think. So, I don't know. And I don't know enough about the other games really to be able to say effectively. But
I think that like the best way that they could do this and like go for the people play, like win over as much people as they possibly can, is try to strike a similar tone to like a Marvel thing, where it's like it can be taken seriously, but there's a lot of like levity to it too. Because that's kind of the vibe that like GX has in a lot of ways, where it's like there's the freaking movies and stuff where it's like, this freaking Black Shadow dude, he's so serious and scary, but also look at his bloopers, like that sort of situation. But it's kind of a little too much,
goofy. For sure.
Goofy in that direction. They need to like tone that side of it down and make it cooler. Because the thing that F-Zero needs to do in any Nintendo franchise really is, or any franchise, is fill a void of some kind, something that the market at large feels like they need. And something that Nintendo fans talk about all the time is that they want more mature franchises. And I think there's a question that kind of talks about this later. But this is definitely one of those franchises that could scratch that itch.
Yeah, for sure. Like Metroid seems to be doing with Dread,
exactly.
Even though it's not like Metroid,
and
Dread
by
is like an R-rated.
Falcon doesn't have to say F, like the Falcon doesn't have to be like, what the F is up, bees, like that doesn't have to be that. But just more mentally stimulating for adults. Breath of the Wild is more mature, like a kid can still enjoy it, but there's a lot to chew on for people that are older.
Yeah, for sure. There's going to be a lot to chew on in the Skyward Sword HD quality of life fixes, so much to chew on.
We're waiting on it.
So we finally found out some stuff, and apparently there's more, because we already know one thing that they didn't mention in this video but showed up in the video, which was that there's auto saves, which previously you had to go save at statue or whatever. So now at least there's auto saves, which means probably you can also save anywhere, I'd guess. Like that seems like it would be weird if it was just, that'd be pretty sure. I would guess. But then again, I'm always a big fan of being able to manually save, even if there's auto save in the game. But there are definitely some games where it's just like, just trust the auto save. It's got auto save, and I'm like, but I want to press the button.
There's some games where I don't even think about that. Where it's like, I know for sure that it auto saves, and that's fine. But then there's other games that I don't trust it, like Pokemon, then trust it. And I think that's what it is that like Pokemon came from a time where that wasn't a thing. So it was like you had to, and during that time, there's been so many times where I lost my save in a Pokemon game from batteries dying or whatever.
And the stakes are high,
like at that point, I'm like, nah, I don't trust the autosave. But if it's always been autosave, I think I just,
or like new Pokemon Snap, it autosaves, it must, and I'm not concerned about it at all. But also because it's like, I think that's a lot of, if there's a character in an overworld, I want to press the save button. And that's pretty much it, like besides that, I'm probably good. This stuff, we got some things: skippable cutscenes in Skyward Sword, optional health from Phi, which apparently is going to be a big deal. Glad to hear that. Fast forward dialogue, streamlined item info. This is one that I definitely remember hearing about a lot.
Breath of the Wild thing, where
every time you get a blue rupee, it's not like you got a blue rupee that's worth 10
rupees or rupees. How we keep our economy alive and support our workers and the future of Hyrule. Well, thank you for spending this.
Have you heard of socialism? It's where it just like goes into it. I don't know why skippable cutscenes is in here twice, but skippable cutscenes again, and then enhance frame rate and button layout. I think the number one big question that still remains is
the handheld thing.
Yes,
because every time they show the button controls, it's handheld. But like at the same time,
can you use a pro controller is the real question.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I don't know if they're just doing that to drive home the point that's like, hey, if you have a Switch Lite, this is how you probably have to play this game. Because like, I mean, you could buy Joy-Con and play it like that. But really, probably not. You bought a Switch Lite. So like, I don't know if that's what it is. And I think a lot of people are taking it as confirmation that like, because I think we talked about that where it was like, oh, apparently it's like confirmed or whatever, but it's not confirmed. They're just not they're not confirming anything. They're just saying like there's button controls and then they show a Switch Lite on the screen.
So it could very well be that it's just the way that they're showing it, but like the fact that they haven't shown a pro controller yet anywhere is a little bit like what's going on, but we'll see. I mean, and that said, probably I can imagine that either of those situations that I probably would just end up using the ones that it's showing. Like if I'm playing docked, it might be fun enough to do the.
Yeah, I'm not like, I know a lot of people are like egregiously against motion controls.
I'm fine with good motion controls.
As long as the motion controls work, I am down. I am down.
I'm not a fan of waggle motion. I've said this before, but I remember playing Mario Galaxy 2 and there's one boss. It's like a sand pit thing and you have to shoot fireballs into his mouth. And I remember like waggling it and Mario's just standing there like, all right, what should I be doing, man? I'm like, please shoot a fireball. I beg of you, shoot a fireball. And it did not work. And I was just
needs to, like, for me to have fun with it, it needs to feel like well incorporated. Because Wii Sports, the original Wii Sports is waggle. But it doesn't feel like that. It's like you don't have to do all the like freaking extra tennis stuff, but you can and it works. So like as long as like it feels like what I'm doing has a purpose, like Mario Galaxy, I can see that being annoying because it's like a lot of stuff that you do, they could have just mapped that to a button and it wouldn't have changed the experience at all. But Mario, like freaking Wii Tennis wouldn't be Wii Tennis if it was not motion controls. Like it wouldn't be a fun game if it was button controls. The reason why it's fun is because of the motion. And I feel that way about like Star Fox Zero and like a lot of other games that people like hate. Splatoon, like hate just because of the thought of like motion. Sign me out. I want to be a potato on my couch and press the A button. Like, I'm down for either. I can press buttons or I could do motion. It doesn't matter as long as it works.
So hopefully it does work. We'll find out more about that, just like we found out more from Nintendo President Furukawa, who's asked some questions by shareholders. And I lied when I said we found out more because we didn't.
We found out absolutely nothing.
I just think it's funny.
It's
not surprising at all.
Like it's not, that is the thing. Like it's not surprising, but also he kind of like a lot of the times that we see them talk about Switch Pro, they kind of deny it. Like we have no plans for.
I did notice that
Switch
as
Pro.
well,
and he didn't do that.
He was like, I don't know. We're always thinking about.
We're always working on stuff, man. We're always working on stuff. Like, usually that's part and parcel with we have no plans in the immediate future, and they don't even really say that. They're like, we have no plans for this. They were straight like, and they do it all the time, really. Like with the new 3DS. I think it was like maybe a week prior to them having an interview like that with like an IGN or something. They're like, we have no plans to update anything. And then a week later, they're like, 2DS. I was like, all right, okay.
And there were a bunch of those. So like as we go through, one of them that they asked about was Nintendo Switch Online. Furakawa says our company started the Nintendo Switch Online service, blah 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 blah. So you can play games like Animal Crossing with friends or NES and Super NES games, and blah blah blah. Here's how well the service is doing, and that's why we're working to make the Nintendo Switch more fun and convenient by elevating the appeal of the service. Which like implies that they're planning on doing stuff to make it better, but like also making quality of life fixes or adding more NES games could fit into that for sure. So like, kind of not saying anything there.
Non-statement.
Yeah.
Also, it's weird that they were like that. He was like, as of September or whatever, like whatever the last. Hold on, wait. Yeah, as of September. Like, why didn't they update that? What? We're almost into this September.
Yeah,
we're not even that far away. So I think that might have been better for them if they would have been like, we're at this many subscribers now.
Yeah. That is funny. September, it does seem, I mean, like if anything's going to happen with it, it would be September because that's what they're doing. But like,
yeah, that's like when it dropped and when they give all the updates for it, apparently, because again, he said last September, we released this figure. Like,
yeah. I mean, maybe there's fewer than that for whatever reason this time because like people aren't playing Animal Crossing as much.
I highly doubt it. I
don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing like you set up once and you kind of just forget about it and let it keep going. So like, I'd be surprised if that many people like unsigned up for it. But but yeah, the Switch Pro one, where'd that one go? Basically, where is it? Is it number 8? Yeah. Why am we conduct? Okay, whatever. Somebody asked about the Switch Pro, and then it says, we conduct Nintendo Direct presentations to give our customers. And they were like, hey, how come there wasn't a Switch Pro at the Nintendo Direct? We thought we were going to be seeing one at E3. That's what everybody said. And they said, we conduct Nintendo Direct presentations to give our customers information about each product at the appropriate time. Our company is focused on continuing to provide the unique Nintendo sense of play, and we will keep realizing that with our hardware and software. So that's pretty much nothing. But we believe this will grow the company. In order to do that, our company is always developing hardware, software, and accessories, but I will have to refrain from commenting on any specific products under development. So yeah, that feels a little bit more of a lean into like, maybe
that's like
than ever. So there you go. There's that. That's all the news we have for today. But we've got all the other parts of the show. So let's do those now.
Videos.
We did. So I made a video on Metroid Dread. We swapped up our days this week. And
because Kazuya.
True, indeed. First comment, Marvin Mueller said first. And I pulled this specifically because he said it and somebody was like, no one cares, man. And I was like, I'm going to pull that exactly for that. So Marvin Mueller, I care. Thank you very much for commenting.
Too. Thank you for being
first. Carrying on. The Winged Avenger said, if Metroid doesn't sell well on Switch, it'll never sell well.
I don't think you're wrong.
I was gonna say same, like pretty much. Yeah, like this, and I think Nintendo knows that too. Like that's why they're like, I mean, and I hope that they're seeing a bunch of franchises this way where it's like, man, just get them out the like we got to get something for all of these just to like see if it's gonna ever do well. Like this is the time.
Yeah, the landscape has literally never been better for Metroid to succeed. Like there's I wouldn't necessarily say that for every franchise. Like I probably would have been hesitant to do a Ring Fit, and look at that. You know, like that even did great. But like Switch seems like it's like the platform of any platforms that Nintendo has ever done to like be geared to hardcore gamers, like gamers that have been gaming, you know, because like GameCube was like their last like attempt at that in earnest, where it's like, we're going to do what other guys do. We're going to make an impressive box and it has polygons and that sort of crap. And it didn't do great there. But here, there's way more people that own this platform. We know that they're super active. The attach rate for this thing is crazy. Yeah. So like,
yeah, plus, I mean, there's definitely
Metroid has all this like built up hype and word of mouth and mind share.
That's a huge aspect of it, I think, too, where like it's just been talked about so much that like nobody, when they saw the Metroid announcement, nobody was like, so what is Metroid?
Yeah, what's this?
Which
I
is
saw
great.
more people being like, who's Kazuya?
Yeah. Whereas like
what's Metroid?
In the same presentation, Cruise and Blast was announced, and a lot of people were like, okay, what's Cruising? Right. And like, even though that's like at least partially a Nintendo published property, so like it's coming out, but people didn't necessarily know what it was, which is like, obviously that's fine.
I barely knew what it was, but then it was like the Cruising USA, and I was like,
that one. Yeah. So I think there's definitely some games where, not every franchise has the same upper limit of potential. Metroid, I think, has always had a higher limit of potential than it's reached, just for various reasons. And then there's other ones like, honestly, I don't know. Depending on how they do it, I don't know that a Golden Sun would do that much better. Now it'll do better for sure.
I was about to say I disagree.
I mean, but like, I don't think it's just as a JRPG or whatever. I think it will do great for JRPG. So like probably 3 million, something like that, which is like for JRPG, that's great. But that's not like exponentially better than the 1 million that it did on the GBA. I think like its life
for an RPG. That's a lot. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of the same thing with Metro. Like this game, Dread. I think best case scenario for this game is like 6 million. Like that would be an insane number. If this game, like by the time they hang up Switch and Swap's coming out or whatever, right? I think if this game is at 6 million units, that's a huge success. And we are getting 2D Metroid games for the next 15 years until they dry up again, if they dry up again. But
Metroid Prime 4 though?
Prime 4 is the game that I think is like, that would be the make or break test of like, can they Breath of the Wild this? Like, can they take this from a franchise that gamers love, but do they really? Like you can talk about you love it all you want, but like, are you going to spend money to play this video game? And I think that would be the test. Like if Metroid Prime 4 sells 15 million units, again, we're seeing Metroid games for forever. We are never not going to see a Metroid game because they're always going to be chasing that high. And
I've got to wonder too, I mean, like obviously it seems like there's multiplayer in that game too. So like depending on how well that does, if that becomes, I mean, essentially the Halo for Nintendo platforms, like of just like, there's a great campaign mode, which obviously this would be more campaign versus multiplayer. But if it's like, this is like,
I don't even know if that, I mean, like, I think Halo really for a long time, maybe not as much now, had the reputation that like the single player was the thing.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Like the multiplayer was popular, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But like, most Halo fans that I know, and I know some huge Halo fans, like that was the reason why they were playing the game. Like that because of the campaign. And then like the multiplayer was the bonus. Yeah. I think that for Metroid, it'll probably be less so, depending on how good the multiplayer is. I think the closer like comparison would be like a Last of Us, like an Uncharted game where there's going to be like, assuming that the multiplayer or maybe Doom is good.
I don't know, because
I think even less than Doom.
Okay,
because I think Doom is a lot closer to Halo.
Interesting.
Where a lot of people buy Doom to play the campaign, and then there's a decent, except for like with the newest Doom. I think there's a lot less people that spilt over into the multiplayer than the older games.
Yeah.
But I think that there's like a decent amount of people that buy the game for the multiplayer and the single player, but more so the single player. I think that for Prime, most people that will buy this game are going to buy it for the campaign, and if the multiplayer is good, that's the cherry on top.
Yeah,
more so than it's like this weird, like it almost loses what you bought it for,
right?
Because like initially you're like, I bought it like Halo, I bought it because the single player seemed dope and that was really great, and I love that, and then I love the mechanics so much that I played the multiplayer and I love that, and that's why I play it. That sort of situation.
Yeah.
Splatoon was kind of like that in the beginning.
I was gonna say, that Splatoon would be an interesting comparison, because that is, I mean, like first and foremost multiplayer game, So Yeah, I mean, to answer the original question though, totally, I think we both agree very well. Like this is its chance.
Yeah, 100%.
And luckily, it's not like Metroid Prime 4 is dependent on this existing and doing well. So like we'll have two chances.
Yeah,
if either one of them does great and the other one doesn't, then we'll go.
I think
if
there. anything, I think there's no world where Metroid Prime 4 doesn't sell more than Dread. I think
I agree.
Absolutely zero universes where that happens.
Because even people that buy Dread and are like, oh, never mind, this isn't for me. Prime 4 is so different that they'll be like, but I'll try.
If anything, they're gonna be like, yo, the people that said 2D games aren't worth $60 are right. But luckily we have a 3D Metroid game, a real Metroid game coming out. Yo, how many people's souls would that shatter if like Metroid Prime becomes the real Metroid game?
I mean, I honestly, like practically speaking, I wouldn't be too surprised just in terms of like what the general populace thinks of. Like same goes for, Zelda. Like 3D Zelda is Zelda, 2D Zelda was the original Zelda, but like it feels like a spinoff at this point.
Yeah, but I think that it would be even more devastating.
Yeah,
because like
story
Metroid, yes, 2D Metroid never really stopped being a thing, whereas like Zelda. 2D Zelda kind of stopped being a thing for a little bit. It was like Ocarina came out and then like they stopped focusing as much on that. It was kind of like Mario a little bit, except they didn't do the new Mario relaunch situation. But when Metroid Prime came out, they were still doing like, and here's Zero Mission, and here, like they were still doing like in tandem 2D games rather than like spacing them out into like this separate thing. Yeah. So, and Prime was billed as the spin-off game.
Yeah, it's interesting. 88 Leads says this game looks good. I really wish I was gaming during the 3DS era. I would have loved to play Samus Returns. I guess we won't be seeing that game on Switch because Dread. Number one, you could still go play that game if you want, but I mean, at this point, I'm definitely going to wait until after Dread if I go play it.
Dude, I'm not playing on my 3DS. I don't even know where my 3DS charger is, and I'm not buying it. But speaking of that, I don't know. This is probably more of a Q&A thing, but I was so bored earlier today, and I don't usually get bored, but I was like very bored, and I was like, yo, I think I might want to buy an Apple Watch because I'm bored and I want to tinker with something. And then I was like, I'm not going to use this. I don't need an Apple Watch. And then I was like, wait, but it's like $200 right now. I could get an Apple Watch, and I didn't do it. But I was bored. I was very bored.
What a funny time. How did your brain get to that from this?
I don't know.
Perfect. This is directly to you, everybody. This is who we are.
The 3DS thing, because I was like, usually I wouldn't have a problem being like, I want to play the 3DS, so I'm going to buy a charger and blah blah. But that's how little I want to play my 3DS. I don't want to buy another charger. Like,
I am still tempted to at some point.
Yeah, like the prices. You should play the game that gave you out of the kindness of their heart and soul.
I wonder how much at we've got a place called McKay's around here that's like a used bookstore that also has like lots of video games and stuff like that. And they've got like SNESs, NESs, N64s oftentimes, like, like 2 or 3 of them, but like still. But I'm sure they've got some 3DSs that are in decent quality, and like curious what the prices are on that. But like, I don't feel like spending money on it. But the real question here, do you think Dread makes Samus Returns port more or less likely?
Less, because I feel like if Samus Returns, if that port was going to happen, it would have happened before, because it's kind of like required playing for Dread. It's the second game and this is the 5th game, so like the 5th game coming out and be like, yo, play the second game seems kind of weird.
Part of me feels like more, but not for a while is kind of the I don't know.
If they're going to do it, they would do it like as part of a series of like, here's Zero Mission remastered, and here's 2, and like
I mean, they have so many. Just Nintendo in general has so much of a backlog of games that they can do something with, that like at this point, I really don't know. I mean, nobody does, obviously, but like they have a lot of different directions they can go in on how to use those, or just literally not, which would suck, but how to use those. But like, what are they going to do? Because they haven't done anything so far since NES and SNES. And then 3DS though, like outside of individual game ports, like this one would be similar to Miitopia or whatever. We're not going to see 3DS games in mass, other than I think we are going to start seeing a lot more like Miitopia specific ports. But
once the Wii U is on its dying breath, its final one, it's still gasping for air right now. It's still kind of alive. There's a few games,
but once Xenoblade Chronicles X.
And got Nintendo Land,
Zeldas.
It has the Zeldas.
Star Fox Zero.
Star Fox.
That's pretty much it.
Devil's Third.
I was about to say Devil's Third. I couldn't remember what it was called. All right, next comment. Alexander Snow said, bringing a fully fledged first-person shooter with Metroid Prime 4 to the Switch would do well to round out their customer base. Sure, that's not Nintendo's target demographic, and there are some good first-person shooters on Switch, but if it were good enough to retain customers of that demographic who might not otherwise buy the next console, that could be huge for Nintendo. With Metroidvanias being popular lately, especially on the Switch, I think this would be an easy win for Nintendo, even at $60. It builds hype I think this will be an easy win for Nintendo, even at $60. It builds hype for Metroid Prime 4. It could be huge for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
And yes, like that's kind of the place that Switch has been in for since I want to say 2018, 2019 actually, because Pokemon was like the last piece of the puzzle of Nintendo mainstays. Once Pokemon was on there, it's like everything that people expect on a Nintendo console is there. Like obviously Animal Crossing, but I don't think that everybody expected Animal Crossing fans, obviously, but that sneeze, it happened.
It was way longer than 45 minutes.
I told you. It's like freaking that was
it was before we were starting recording.
The show. I had to sneeze before we started recording the show, which was I want to say 10 minutes before we actually before. So add 10 minutes to the counter. That's how long I've had to sneeze, and it just said no. What was I even talking about? Oh, so I think that the way that they keep growing is that they start looking for individual
customer base
demographics. Okay, where are we lacking? We don't have enough shooters. We don't have enough third person action games, that sort of situation.
I think totally that. And I mean, some of that obviously is to bring in new customers, but I think some of it also is to just
keep
especially within
customers active.
Because I think there's people that signed up in 2017 for the most part, are still engaged, but there definitely are I've had a couple of friends that are I just sold my Switch. I just, didn't really have anything to be playing on it anymore. Specifically they bought it for Breath of the Wild. And then there just wasn't really anything within that kind of wheelhouse.
I think that is the biggest thing with that part of the demographic that bought into Switch because of Breath of the Wild. It's they saw that, and then they that became an expectation where it's it needs to be an event where no other consoles like that, people buy games that they want to play and they play those. And there's I think that us being in this space kind of skews that too, where it's I don't think that most people that play games in the sense that they're always looking for the next game. All right, I got my game, I'm gonna play my game. And then when a new thing comes out that looks interesting to them, they're I guess I'll buy this. And then they buy that.
Yep.
I think that's kind of how the strategy for the Switch is. They're moving forward like that. They're going, they're trying to give people their game, not so much give everybody a bunch of new games, but give as much people as possible their game.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll do the best for them play time wise, right? Because there can be a lot of games that you're kind of interested in. There can be a lot of Breath of the Wilds in the sense of it's this game that everybody's going to talk about and blah blah, but not everybody's Parker, right? So not everybody loves Breath of the Wild as much as you did. There's a lot of people that put 40 hours into Breath of the Wild and they had their time with that, and that's cool. But
what's interesting is I see some of them come back more often later to dip their toes back in. I saw my friend Chris online playing Breath of the Wild the other day, and I was like, oh, that's funny, because like he beat the game,
right?
But he's got tons more to do that he didn't do the first time around. Whereas like, yeah, that wasn't the case for me. So
yeah, no. I mean, there's still a lot that I need to do and can't do in Breath of the Wild, but I played 250 hours. Man.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, it's
but yeah, like I think that is just like generally a more like effective way to go about filling out your user base is by giving everybody the game that they want to spend countless hours in, not just a game that they want to get lost in once and then they're like, man, I really love that experience, that was cool.
I think my Switch the tricky thing honestly is like I think there's a lot of games on platforms that I mean, there's a lot of games on the Switch that, like, if you like this game, you will like this other game. But just a lot of times I think people are the willingness to like dip their toes into certain things. Like I remember the first time my friend Nate played an indie game at all, or the first time I played an indie game. Like I picked up Golf Story because I was like, I don't know, this seems like it could be fun. I was like, oh, cool. Like indie games, that's a thing. And then that just like opens the whole, this whole world of like, this is indie games and what they're like and what we can be playing. So I think that's a challenge that Nintendo has, is like, how can you get people who are only interested in this one thing that when they think of video games, they think of, this one sort of thing. How can you get them to be able to expand their horizons just a little bit to see like, oh, there's a lot of other games that scratch that same itch.
Yeah, there are definitely games that scratch that itch of Breath of the Wild. They're not as like deep in all of the ways that Breath of the Wild is,
and it's not even just like, oh, you like Breath of the Wild, you'll like Skyrim, because like honestly, probably not as true as some people would think.
No, I like Breath of the Wild. I don't care about Skyrim. I'm good on that.
On the other hand, you like Breath of the Wild, you will like a short hike. It's a 3-hour long game, but it's great. And like it scratches some of the same itches as that, like, so there's more stuff like that that's just like they're not gonna be, but like I mean, Nintendo legitimately could do well to try to get people to expand their horizons in those ways. Continuing on, Retrofraction said, I think the Breath of the Wild 2 will be fun, but I wouldn't get surprised if it gets overshadowed by a rare release of a new Metroid game.
I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about overshadowed. I don't like, again, for specific people, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Because there's going to be people that are like Bob, Metroid Prime 4, if that game's sick and that's like a Breath of the Wild level game and that's how deep it is, he's 1000% going to like Metroid Prime 4 more than he likes Breath of the Wild, because that's just his style. That's his thing, and I'd say it's more my thing too, honestly, because I don't really like high fantasy and all that stuff. I like the systems of Breath of the Wild. I like that. Yeah, you do like high fantasy. You like it a lot. But I do not. So like if Metroid Prime is deep like that, but I don't think that A, that's going to happen. B, I don't think that there's enough people that feel that way where they're playing one and not the other. Because like even me, if I like Metroid Prime 4 more than I like Breath of the Wild 2, again, I doubt it. But if that's the case, I'm not going to play Breath of the Wild 2. Like,
and I mean, also the releases are probably going to be pretty
far apart,
I would guess. Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, it also depends on it. Like if we're talking specifically Metroid Prime 4 and like when this is a rare release of a new Metroid game, I don't know if we're talking about the fact that this is a Metroid Dread video. So we're actually talking about Metroid Dread because like in the intro, I mentioned that like of Breath of the Wild 2 and Metroid Dread, this is the one that people are talking about more after the thing. But like it's
right.
And that's not because
because like Metroid is the more exciting game or whatever.
We just know more about it. It's coming around the corner.
Yeah, like if they announced that Breath of the Wild was coming out this year, I don't know if that would still be the case. I think people would still be talking about Breath of the Wild 2 more than Dread, honestly.
But I mean, like there's an extent to which I could, if we're talking specifically Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2, and they come out, sometime around each other or whatever, and Metroid Prime 4 really is everything it is, and Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't diverge as much as it obviously seems like it will, then I could actually see a case being made for that like people end up talking about one more than the other. But that's a lot of ifs that I don't think are actually going to be the case. But Whatever, you can make a case for it. Last comment from my video, and then we'll move on to yours, is Moogie said, every 3DS game, or at the very least, every Nintendo published 3DS game since 2017 should have released for both the 3DS and the Switch, in my opinion. Also, on the topic of price, I understand where people come from about being hesitant to pay full price for a 2D game. People were definitely questioning Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, especially since those were just ports. 2D games,
I think that's why, not because they're 2D, but because they were ports, which is also stupid if you never played it before.
Right. 2D games just don't take as many resources and time as full 3D games, but this is Nintendo. They know their market, and they know most Nintendo fans will pay full price and even more for anything, regardless of quality, shady business practices, goodwill or lack thereof, etc. I think Metroid looks like it deserves the full 60, but I completely understand why some don't.
Again, no, that's not necessarily true. There are definitely 2D games that have taken a lot more time and effort than 3D games, and vice versa. It's like one's not inherently more hard to develop than the other, unless they do the bare minimum of one way or the other. Like it's like this converging point where it's like the easiest possible version of the two. Yes, sure, 2D is probably easier to do than the easiest version of a 3D game. But they meet in the middle somewhere, and then they can be higher or lower.
I mean, there's something to be said too for like, I can make in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD remaster, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I can make a skate park that's in there, and it has, it's a 3D environment and stuff like that. And I can just kind of put some things there, and some things can happen, and it's more up to my player agency of making that be fun or whatever.
Right.
Whereas like in 2D games, maybe actually like the practice of like putting the things in their places doesn't take as long or something. It all depends on tooling and things, but like you definitely have to think
will be fun and challenging.
There's like generally between a good 2D game and a good 3D game, like Breath of the Wild has plenty of areas where like, I mean, there's gobs of stuff, but there's also areas where it's like, and here we have field for a little bit, and there's some rocks, and we're going to play some rocks, but like, it doesn't really matter where they are. We're just going to put some rocks in some places because we're going to put them there. Whereas in a 2D game, like truly everything should be thought out pretty specifically of where everything is, because it influences the whole experience.
Metroid Dread is a 3D game.
It is, yeah.
It was developed in 3D. It's just the perspective is in 2D, which adds another level of complexity to the development, because then you got to be like, all right, I forgot to make sure the Z-axis doesn't interfere when we don't want it to. Hello, Smash Brothers, how you doing, Z-axis? Like the Z-axis in a game that's perspective is 2D, in a 3D game is not an easy thing to do. So yeah, I think that like that argument shows, and not necessarily, I'm not like, this isn't necessarily like directed at Muji or Moogie. Let us know how to say that specifically, but I think that that's like a general thought process that is like off base and kind of it lacks understanding of how game development works, because it's not a one size fits all. I pressed the 3D button, so therefore I have to solve for more things than if I pressed the 2D button.
I mean, thinking pretty specifically, ukulele versus Ukulele and the Impossible Layer, one's 3D and one's 2D, and like I would definitely personally pay more for Ukulele and the Impossible Layer, the 2D one, because it's better designed and it's just more thought out. So like.
And better thought out from the perspective of what works now.
Yeah, right.
Because the problem with Ukulele, again, the original game, isn't that it's 3D. It wasn't harder for them to develop because it was 3D. It's because they were trying to make an N64 game work in freaking 2017.
Well, no, that, and also just thinking about what makes 3D platforming fun, and that like there were tons of, you have a double jump, and I'm fine. Certain aspects of double jumps can be good, especially in like Celeste, when that's done well, where it's like, and now we're adding a double jump to it, which means you're going to have to do this or that or the other. But in Ukulele, it was literally like every platform that you had to jump to, you had to double jump there. Like there was just no point in having it, because it was just like, that's how you have to jump to places. So it was like, there were a lot of things where you can put things haphazardly and just hope that it works out. Whereas because like, oh well, if you can't jump up here, you'll just have to go around it and you'll do something else. Whereas in a 2D game, like you have to play through a specific section, and if somebody can't get up there, they can't get up there. There's no two ways around it at that point. You just have to do it. So yeah, I mean, I think in general, the first bit though, it is, yeah, should 3DS games have come out on both?
I think it depends on the game.
Yeah.
I think that there's certain games that were thrown on the 3DS towards the tail end of 3DS that if they were putting on the Switch, they would have been bad for those games.
Yeah.
Whereas they
the
were
Luigi's Mansion ports,
because it was like,
for example,
yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was like those games were sick because they're on 3DS.
Yes. Right.
It's like, man, I'm playing Luigi's Mansion on 3DS, but on Switch, it would have felt like,
yeah.
Eh.
But any like, yeah, I mean, I could see like Ever Oasis, like that coming out,
Yeah.
or
the Metroid.
Yeah, right, exactly. That for sure should have. So yeah. All right, that's it for my video. Now you got some comments from your video.
True, I made a video about Smash and Kazuya, and I knew I was going to get this comment. This first comment, and there's a couple of iterations of this comment, but I only pulled one. I think.
Nice.
I think somebody like touched on this in another comment that I pulled, but I pulled it so I can address it.
There you go.
The medium that we make for addressing comments.
Indeed. Cure Saul said, okay, but should. What?
I think he meant it should, because I said it doesn't have to end in 2021.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay, but it should. Sakurai needs a break and work on other games. Smash Ultimate has been around for almost 3 years, so I think it's time for it to end.
Okay. I responded to this comment in a plain and simple way, and I'm going to do a version of that plain and simple response. First of all, no. Second of all, just because Sakurai needs or wants or whatever a break and wants to work on different games does not mean that Smash Brothers has to be affected at all. Like at all. Because Sakurai is not the only person that works on Smash Brothers. Believe it or not, there are hundreds of people that work on this video game, and I guarantee you that there's at least 20 people that work at Bandai Namco and/or Nintendo proper that understand the game to the same degree that Sakurai does and can contribute the same sorts of ideas, if not new and fresh ideas that would make the game feel even better than he does. Like, Sakurai's great. Love Sakurai. Makes good games. Some of my favorite games, in fact. But I think the auteur worship across the board in every medium, period, it's bad for everybody. It is bad. I
mean, we shouldn't have a petition to not get Kojima to work with Microsoft.
We shouldn't.
It was 100 people petition. Like, that was
so dumb.
Funny.
It's so dumb. It's damaging to everybody. It's not good for Sakurai because he has all this pressure because people feel like if he left that the game would die, and he doesn't want the game to die. He loves Smash Brothers, but at the same time he doesn't want to work on it anymore. So ironically, these people that are like, give Sakurai a break, let them make Smash Brothers later and blah blah, they're the ones putting the pressure on him. Because I'm not saying Sakurai needs to do any of this. I want Sakurai to freaking make Ice Climbers Downfall or whatever, dude. Like, I want him to make something else. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Smash Brothers has to go anywhere anyway. I mean, either. But also, he said Smash Brothers is around for almost 3 years. That doesn't matter. It's a long evergreen title. They're always talking about supporting their games for a long time. It's a competitive game. It is even for Nintendo, because I know there's a lot of people that do the way it's intended to be played and blah blah blah, which is like always ironic because it always comes from people that don't actually play the video game that are like, I want to play Smash the way it was meant to be played, but you never play it. So
right. And it's also funny because like if you see Sakurai playing, like, to show how things are on, like, I mean, obviously it's tutorially at that point, but like items are off. It's on an alpha stage, and like, which is
but yeah, like, it's a competitive game. Competitive games have long tails. You know what season Dragon Ball Fighters is on? That's on volume 3. You know, like it's not unheard of for game. Freaking Overwatch. Fortnite is on season 2, volume 7 or whatever, you know, like, these games persist You know, like supporting a game is not this crazy request. I'm not asking them to shackle Sakurai to a desk. I want them to be like, Sakurai, go and do what you want, but we are going to continue to support the video game for both like recurring players, people that are lapsed, and people that might want to play in the future. Because who knows? Maybe they continue to support the game, and then they freaking put Isaac in the game, and then you become Evo Champion 2027. Who knows? You know, 100%. But that only happens if they continue to support the game. Yeah. It's a win-win for all fans if they continue to support the game. It doesn't matter if you actively play the game now or not. It's a good thing.
It's true. Soul 2004 said, I personally would like Sakurai to retire from Smash and let somebody else take over development for Fighters Pass 3 and alternate costumes and other cool stuff. IDK.
I agree. Agreed. Entirely. And I said that in the video even, where I'm like, every time I make one of these videos where I'm like, yo, this would be cool. And this is why Sakurai doesn't have to do any of it. You know, like I always make it a point to say that, because I truly believe Sakurai is not this like imperative element to the video. He contributed a lot, obviously. But Mario, you know, Zelda, so many
Mario and Zelda.
So many Nintendo franchises that started with a certain person at the helm no longer have them at the helm anymore. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, Miyamoto, blah blah blah, something about Mario. Miyamoto hasn't worked on a Mario game in a decade, and Mario's still great. It turns out still good.
That's the thing with like with the auteur stuff is like, if say Sakurai doesn't leave Smash until, or like say they have a volume of Fighters Pass 3 and then he sticks around for it, and then all the fighters are, you know, great or whatever, and then they make a new game, he's not on that game anymore, any changes, people will be like, well, that wouldn't have been blah, 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 if Sakurai were here, that kind of a thing, where it's like, no, there was stuff in Smash Ultimate at first that people had to get used to. People didn't like the launch feel at the beginning. They were like, this is sucks, and now it's like it feels weird to go to any other game. Pretty much.
That's why, like, if they I mean, when they do, because they're going to do it, Sakurai eventually is going to stop this whole thing where he's like, I don't know, man, this might be my last one. And ironically, he started this game being like, I always say it's going to be my last game, but realistically, I always say that. So probably not. I'll probably be making this game until I die. But if that's the case and he does eventually stop, they need to do it in the same way that Pokemon's done it, the same way that Zelda's done it, the same way that Kirby did it, where it's not this loud thing. It just happened. It just eventually, he just stopped. And like the last game he that he worked on, he let his second in command or whatever group of people make more decisions than they did prior. So that, you know, they know what it feels like to make a decision that people don't like and then have to change that or whatever the case may be. And then the game just remains good.
Continuing on that line of thought, Mugi says Sakurai needs to get off of Smash. He's done enough. And then thank you, Hans. I'd much rather him move on to either retire or make a new game. Smash is already good enough for me, but if they do decide to update or make the game more, please let someone else take Sakurai's place. As far as future updates and the final fighter, I don't know, I don't really care at this point who gets in, but I definitely want more character alts. Everyone should have 16 alts like Little Mac in Smash 4. And please fix the delay of characters appearing on the character select screen and the online.
Yes, please. That's very stupid. You ever like cycle through your character alts and it like doesn't load? It's just a blank
the many
screen.
times I've played online, the one time.
It's very stupid.
I believe it though.
But also like the hold on, wait, let me go back. It's fine. That's the other thing. Like, I'm happy with how Smash is. Like, Smash is fine. Me wanting them to continue to work on the game it's not from a place of like, this game sucks and I want it to be good. It's like, I like this game and I want to continue to play it and have it be vibrant and interesting. So it should be different, not necessarily better. Like, you know, that's it's not coming from a place of like, I don't know, like it's not, I don't need fulfillment or anything like that. I don't feel like that is where the game's at. or needs to be, where it's like it has to be finished, because that's not the type of game it is. It's not Zelda.
Yeah.
It's a multiplayer game that people play online actively all the time with events and stuff like that. So it should be a living document.
Yeah. Agreed. M567DK said, I do not care for the new Smash content, as my own personal expectations for this game were not met. I have to say that the only way to at least please everyone who had expectation characters for this version of the series, and they did not get in the end, I think it's best if they did a pack for Echo characters for characters like Dixie Kong and Shadow the Hedgehog, and more Mii costume, especially from certain third-party games with gaming histories like Ninja Gaiden and Doom, and yes, including Sora from Kingdom Hearts. That is the only way I think the game can survive and at least make more people a bit happy.
I also disagree with this.
Yeah.
Where it's like the game's going to be fine.
Yeah.
The game is like,
yeah, for sure.
Thousands of people enter tournaments for this video game and pay hundreds to thousands of dollars a year to compete in this video game. Like the game is going to live just like Smash 4 did before it, just like Smash Brawl did before it, just like Melee did and continues to do. You know, like people love Smash Brothers. It can easily, and that's a big part of why I want them to like support this game more. Me and Bob talk about this all the time, where it's like Smash could easily be the biggest esport in the world, no problem, for free. They have so many franchises that so many people love that if they made the game of Smash Brothers more conducive to esports, it could dominate so easily. Because the appeal for most people for esports is they look at that just like sports, just like regular sports. Either I used to do that. That looks super impressive because I know how hard it is to get a touchdown. You know, I know how hard it is to get a half court shot. The fact that dude did it is super cool. You know, like Smash Brothers is a version of that. It's like, oh man, he did a back air into a forward smash and killed him at 40. That's impossible. I've never killed anybody at 40, you know, like it's like that sort of situation. So if they like kept working at it and did more to show people that potential, the fact that that's a thing that you can do, I think that would help the game across the board, and it would even make it better for casuals, because I play the game casually a decent amount. There's a lot of people that I know that do not know how to play the video game. So I do the whole items on playing random characters situation, and that's fun too. But when I play with those people and they see that, like, even when I'm playing like that, there's certain things that still, you know, seep in. I'm still doing like wave landing, and I'm still like doing like more advanced, I'm doing reverse aerial rushes and like all this more advanced tech that they're like, oh shoot, how did you do that? And then that makes them better and want to play the competitive rule set. And then, you know, like like the snake eats its tail. I mean, I think the other thing with this comment that is a bit misaligned is just that that the new characters aren't, they're kind of to bring new fans. It's kind of for Sora fans to be interested in Smash, kind of. But I think more often than not, it's for Smash fans who ideally happen to love Sora or whatever, you know, and like it's Sakurai he's not like, please come play my game. He's like, hey, thanks for playing my game. He's a character I think is cool. So like, I think we as fans, like I can't be that sad if no new characters that I'd really love got into Smash, because I don't play Smash that much. So it's like, I'm, you know, that would be like I don't know, going to Burger King and being like, but I wanted pizza. Why don't you guys have pizza for me? You know, it's like, well, we make burgers. We make as good burgers as we can for you, please. And I mean, I think it's somewhere in the middle. Honestly, because like, I talk about it a lot where it's like, I probably wouldn't play Smash Ultimate nearly as much as I do if Pokemon Trainer wasn't in the game. That is why I love Smash Brothers as much as I do, because of Pokemon Trainer. And I think you like Smash enough, like, and are good enough at Smash, that if there was a character that you like enough and are good enough at playing and that like their play style gels with you, you would get the bug. You might not get it as hard, but you would want to play the game a lot more than you do. I guarantee it. But I do also agree that it's like, you're not going to like win over people that's like, man, I'm a Soul Calibur fan and I only play Soul Calibur. If you put freaking Yoshimitsu from Soul Calibur / Tekken.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he's in both. But anyway, if you put freaking Yoshimitsu, I don't know if it's the same Yoshimitsu. So like if people in comments,
I think it is, but I could be wrong.
Them putting him in games not automatically going to like eat that feud for them. They're still going to freaking hate Smash, you know. But the people that love both are going to love it even more.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, those things. Last comment from your video, Magnus87 said, I hope that when all the DLCs are available, they'll release a full version in physical form. Hashtag Smash Bros 5 Definitive Edition.
I agree.
Yep.
Sakurai, I'd be mad at you for calling this Smash Bros 5 though. Actually, Sakurai. But technically, Sakurai says the Smash Bros 6, which is dumb.
Because of 3DS and 4 being separate?
Because they have different content.
I mean, they do have different content, but like, yeah.
The modes are different. The engine is basically the same though. Like,
yeah.
They still operate the same. But
I mean, that would, to some degree, that feels like calling like Kirby Epic Yarn and Kirby Epic Yarn Devilish Mode on 3DS two separate games. Like, no. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I mean they are separate games, but
it.
it's not like a sequel, you know.
Exactly. Yeah,
like,
it's not.
It's more like
it's a 4.
This is the definitive edition of the game that you have on other things, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Smash is cool. I think that it annoys me that, and people do this a lot across the board, like this dismissive attitude of like, and usually a lot of times it comes from a place of like, I'm bad at this game, so therefore I don't want to spend more time playing this game, and I want to like take pot shots at people that do like playing this game. So they say stuff like this, like, I personally don't care. I personally am done with Smash. So I personally, you know, like that sort of stuff is like, I don't, okay. Like, did I ask that part? Like, if you're done with Smash, then you don't need to ask for anything else. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, I mean, it's the same kind of thing with Animal Crossing of like, they could make more things to, if it was a choice between making more things that would bring people back to Animal Crossing that are gonna
things that would make the people that currently are playing
exactly happier. Like I would prefer, as somebody who would be in the first camp, that they appeal to the people in the second camp of like, I care that they make 7 happy because they like playing,
because they still play
Animal Crossing. And so like supplement that activity.
Those things can be one and the same. But for a game that has a vibrant, active user base, a game like Smash that has 20 million players and millions of people that still actively play the game, you should probably prioritize the millions of people that actively play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you already got it. All you're going to get from the people that bought it, played it for a few hours and stopped. You got their $60. That's all they're spending.
Yep.
But there's still at least a good 8 million people that will give you more money to continue to play the video game.
Yeah. And that's it from our videos and from the news. The last bit is Q&A. And we've got a bunch of them this time, so we'll see how this goes. First thing, I did a YouTube community post to ask which Switch games you're most excited for this holiday. Out of 219 people, I put 5 answers and then told people to comment anything else because there's more than 5 options, as it were, which is great. 62% said Metroid Dread, 14% Skyward Sword HD, 6% Advance Wars Reboot Camp, 3% WarioWare Get It Together, and 15% Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
Nice.
I am curious if I'd put some of the, like, there's several people said Mario Party Superstars. So like, I wonder if that would have gotten more than Wario. Probably that would have gotten more than WarioWare on there. So I don't know. We'll see. Spaceman Spiff, which always love the reference every time, said, at the moment, Metroid Dread is at 100%. I can't imagine it'll deviate very far with more votes. I'm guessing he was the first vote. So good job. The Nintendo Explorer said, Advance Wars Reboot. Not only do I love the series, but I'm hopeful it will do well. I'm hopeful it doing well will lead to more Advance Wars and reboots of other dead franchises.
Same. I agree. Just for that reason, I'm probably going to buy it.
Yep.
Who knows if I'll play it? I mean, I'll probably play it at least once on stream to be like, do I hate or like this game? But beyond that,
I can't remember. Did they show if there's like a multiplayer mode, like a UV me kind of thing? I don't think I'll pick it up.
I don't think they like specifically talked about it.
I didn't watch enough of I watched probably 10 minutes of the Treehouse, and they didn't talk about it.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch the Treehouse at all.
I don't know.
I watched some of the Dread stuff for the Treehouse.
Yeah, me too, a little bit. Spongeroth on a one-winged beach, which I'm guessing that's a Sephiroth reference, said, I have so many games that I decided to hold off buying Switch ports. Hopefully I can get my hands on Mario Party Superstars. Nice.
It kind of feels like a weird because Mario Party Superstars kind of Switch port a little bit. It's a little bit of a Switch port.
But here's this other continuing on talking about Mario Party Superstars too. TNT Big Show said, okay, so many people on Mario Party Superstars are complaining about there only being 5 boards. Besides the first one, Mario Party 2 and 3 only had 5 boards. You had to unlock the last one. The majority of Mario Party games only have 6 boards. So my question is, why are so many people crying over 5 boards? One less board is not going to ruin the game.
I think that people complaining about the 5 boards are not the same people that play Mario Party. I think they're the people that like the idea of Mario Party, but want it to be like the games that they play on other platforms. Because like games now, like many things, are about excess. It's like Smash, everyone's here, 106 boards or levels or whatever, 82 characters or whatever the F. Like, so seeing a game that costs the same price and it's like, it's 5 boards, people thinking those like hard numbers, and they're not thinking, I'm going to play every one of those boards, assuming I like the game. I'm going to play all 5 of those boards for 30 hours each. Like,
and that like with a standard board game, you have one board in the game of life, and it's like, I mean, I wonder if Super Mario Party plays into it at all, like kind of some what's PTSD? I was like SPTD, PTSD with that, quote unquote, of like feeling like, oh, it's spread too thin or something. I wonder if some of that, but probably not too much. I think a lot of it, the most realistic I could imagine is that like, since they're remaking boards, they didn't have to go through the work to come up with the board. So like, there should be more past that. But I think it really does go back to the whole, like, it's about the mini games. It's about the time with your friends, and that like,
and I'd imagine
the boards will facilitate that. But like, honestly, there's some degree to which like too many different boards having too many different mechanics could kind of like overcomplicate things after the end, where it's like, all right, there's 10 different boards, we're going to learn the new nuances of these boards instead of like getting good at these boards and like using them against each other. Like, there's the boards themselves are gamified. There's the space one has the like spaceships of the thwomps that'll like come and like move you off the board and stuff like that. So like, learning those boards well to be able to play with them, like, is probably kind of a thing. So yeah, I think it probably won't be that big a deal. I think what you said is a really good point. I mean, I get people being like, five's not a lot, but I think it's, probably not going to be that big of a deal in the end.
I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah. Weston Meyer, Shin Megami Tensei 5. There you go. Nice. I almost put that one on the list, but WarioWare took its spot. Ian Pittman said, Nintendo, but how's Ratchet and Clank?
I didn't get a PlayStation yet. I talked about how I give my brother money to buy a PlayStation, right?
No.
My brother, he called me, was like, yo, my friend is selling his PlayStation. Can you let me borrow $375? I was like, all right, sure. So I'm probably going to steal his PlayStation for like 2 weeks.
Nice.
Play through Ratchet and Clank and not think about PlayStation until Horizon comes out.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, from what I heard from other people, it's like, it's a good game, but like maybe a little forgettable, but like, a fun
PlayStation game.
No. Yeah, right. So that is what it is. Trevor Steinberg, hey Trev, said, now that we have a new Smash fighter, let's start speculating about the next one. I loved AJ's mention of Spyro, but realistically, do you think it'll be an existing Nintendo character to round it out, or rather than from another company?
I think the most likely thing is that it's a Nintendo character and everybody's going to be pissed.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Except for me. But again, like, that's the thing. I want it to be a Nintendo character. I'd much rather it be a Zelda or a Pokemon than anything else. Literally anything else. But I think the only thing that would be hype for everybody is if it's a third party character, or everybody, as much people as possible, is if it's a third party character and it's like somebody like Crash Bandicoot or Sora.
Super iconic, rounds out the whole thing. Like,
and it's like, it's another one of those moments that like a lot of the DLC that like broke the internet is like stuff that, you know, it broke a Smash Bros rule, you know, like, oh my God, there's a Microsoft character in Smash Brothers. Oh my God, there's a Western indie game character in Smash Brothers. Oh my God, there's a PlayStation RPG character in, you know, like that sort of situation. So like the cherry on top, the happy ending for everybody would be a third party that breaks some sort of barrier. But the hypest, best possible scenario for me is a Pokemon trainer. Just give me another one.
I mean, the reality is, even though they announced a second pass, so it, you know, kind of softened the blow, Byleth ended the first pack. So like, you know, it wouldn't be unprecedented for them to just be like, all right, and here's the last one. We think he's cool. You know, and like, it's just like they, you know, put in a with Andy from Advanced Wars or whatever, like, okay, cool, that's unique. But I feel like first party character seems, it depends what they're going for, you know, like, are they trying to round it out and show like, and here and see all this was Nintendo plus
like, like, are they trying to make a statement, or is it like a marketing, like, we want to sell more copies of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, here's the Gen 4 trainer. You know, like,
because they, I mean, you know, I'm sure they decided all 6 of this pack at the same time. So like, if they wanted,
they decided all 6 when they greenlit.
Who do you think was the biggest of this pass?
What do you mean? Like the
Sephiroth, probably
like the hypest, like the
probably.
I mean, I think like the biggest, most impactful, like biggest deal for the video game is Steve.
Oh yeah,
But I think like the best rounded, like somebody that was hype across the board for people that actively play the game, and also the like it broke the internet sort of situation, probably Sephiroth.
Okay,
because Sephiroth is like a cool character that like literally nobody expected, for better or worse. And he's fun to play. He doesn't feel cheesy, you know, like kills with and against him feel earned, you know. Whereas like Steve, he was hype. I'm glad he's in the game, but he feels nasty to fight. Like,
I mean, he's the kind of fighter that I'd probably end up playing as a decent amount, where like I always thought it was fun to play as Olimar, or like just silly characters with like more RNG kinds of stuff. Like, I'm not going to buy DLC to do that, but that's just, you know, the kind of thing that I
and I didn't really talk about Kazuya here, but Kazuya is like, I'm glad he's not, I mean, I think he's good. Like, I think all the DLC except for maybe Steve, all the DLC characters are good. In the second pass, the first pass, there's a few bad characters in the first pass. But like, I'm just glad he's not as good as I thought he would be. Like, just looking at his tools, and maybe he will be with somebody that's like a god with this character, and they like put the time in to like know all the combos like the back of their hand and be like, oh, I need to do this here in this situation. But you just got to camp him. Like, literally, just like, as long as your character has more range than he does, which is not that hard because he punches you, and that's what he does. And laser. You're good. And he kicks too. The laser too, but the laser, like, that was like the thing. When me and Lee were watching it, he's like, oh, but he has the laser. Maybe you can't camp him out. I will take that laser. I don't care. I'm gonna throw my leaf at you. You're gonna shoot me with the laser, and then what? I'm gonna hit you with another leaf, and then what? You know,
does
like,
he only have the laser once per like recharge? Is it like Rob's laser or something?
If he's in the air, he can only do it once. If he's on the ground, he can do it multiple times, but it has a long startup. So like, somebody's probably going to be able to punish you for doing it before you can follow.
So it's good to like get one out at the beginning, but then do other stuff and come back to it every once in a while.
Exactly. It's a mix-up tool. It's not a good thing to like try to combat his like getting camped. The thing that you
it's like Wario's fart or something. Like,
kind of. But he has other tools that he can like. I think it's his, what is it? His freaking, his dash and then he presses forward tilt, I think, that can reflect projectiles. And then he has his dash. He has like this crouch dash that he can do that can go through hitboxes. Like it gives him armor on like the top half of his body.
Yeah.
But as somebody that understands how that input works and what you can do after that, like if you're running at me with that, I'm just going to grab you.
Yeah.
If you reflect my hitbox, I don't care. So like, it's not going to hurt me, especially if I'm Ivysaur. Like you're going to reflect that hitbox, I'm going to get hit with a relief and take 8 damage. Whoop-de-doo. You know, like I'm just camping Kazuya, and I'm happy that they let me do that. Like, because I would hate them if you couldn't.
So, I mean, to answer the question, I think a Nintendo character, but yeah, I mean, if they're going for hype, then third party, like AJ said. Nico said, gotta say, Mario Party Superstars. All right, good stuff. Broken Fiction, hello, Broken Fiction said, Dread for sure, but Shin Megami Tensei 5 is not so close second. Not to say it and the other games won't be great, but Metroid is just flipping Metroid. You know, the Metroid in Metroidvania. How could people not be excited for that?
True. I mean, I don't really care too much about Metroidvania, so that's not really the reason why I care about this game. It's more so like the IP side of it, the potential for growth within a game that could fill a pocket in the industry that Nintendo's not currently filling. But like the genres, they're like this specific, I don't even know, micro genre of Metroidvania is like the least interesting part of it to me, because like those games usually get boring to me very fast. So I'm hoping Metroid is different.
Last one from YouTube community is Alexander Snow said The Legend of Zelda Master Sword Collection.
Yep.
All right, cool. Questions now.
He also said that.
Question from Twitter. Chris the Butte said, Parker has me upset with his terrible takes on M&Ms. I'm willing to forgive him to ask this question.
I don't remember. What was the terrible take?
I tweeted the other day that like M&Ms on their own, they're all right. They're pretty good. Plain M&Ms. Like,
I saw this, but like in trail mix, they're like.
But in trail mix, it's like the savior. Like that's the thing. You know?
I agree and I disagree.
But I mean,
regular M&Ms. Yeah. But like, if I'm getting M&Ms, I'm getting peanut M&Ms, and I'd much rather have peanut M&Ms than trail mix ever.
Here's hot take. I'm not a big fan of peanut M&Ms.
You're stupid. You're an idiot.
I know. I don't know what it is. My mom. I mean, my mom loves them, and like I know plenty of people that love peanut M&Ms, and I love I've come around on.
You're going to say something stupid. Okay, what is
crunchy M&Ms? Are great.
Those are
crunchy M&Ms are great. Caramel M&Ms are great. Peanut butter M&Ms are great. Mint M&Ms are great. I've come around on pretzel M&Ms, but I think the problem with peanut M&Ms is how I eat them. For sure, is like instead of eating them,
you're going to fault peanut M&Ms because you're stupid.
100%. So, like, when you eat a peanut M&M, do you just like put it in your mouth, eat the whole thing, and then okay? That's probably a smart way to do it. Most things that I eat, like candies,
I'm going to guess what you do. You basically you eat a regular M&M and then you eat a peanut. Like that's the experience.
I eat half a regular M&M, then I eat a peanut, then I eat the other half of an M&M. It's like I'll like crunch it in the middle and then kind of eat the top part off, eat the M&M. I mean, so yeah, I at that point don't observe. So there's that. But
that's
in trail mix, M&M, just plain M&Ms. I still think that plain M&Ms by themselves are pretty good. Like they're not the top.
Yeah, no,
sorry,
Chris the Butte. Sorry, it was a terrible.
But in trail mix, M&Ms are very good. Like suddenly they become A tier, whereas they used to be B tier.
Yeah, kind of but like, does that really make them A tier, or does that make trail mix C tier?
Yeah, I mean, agree. Yeah, it's not about protecting trail mix from its position. It's more like once you're there, suddenly,
it's like if this is the only option I have.
I mean, it's like meals when you're camping are so much better than that same meal. Like I remember I had pasta sides, like it was just like an Alfredo pasta kind of thing that we made after hiking for several miles and then camping overnight and stuff. And we were like, this is the best meal we've ever had. But like, I wouldn't go camping just to have
like the
that
freaking and Hatchet when he got the orange juice or whatever, the orange drink, like the Kool-Aid or whatever the heck. Well, it's like that. You were in Hatchet there.
So yeah, so there's
that book in 4th grade or something.
The question goes on to say, why is moving so flipping annoying? Packing, unpacking is so stressful. Faced with rolling eyes.
It's true. You're not wrong.
Here's the thing. I moved around so much as a kid that I'm actually pretty mixed on packing. I mean, on moving, because there's an element of like, it is very annoying. But I also love starting at a new place and figuring out like, where's the optimal, like that part of it.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
But
like
it's
that, like that's the aftermath of moving. Like it sounds like she's talking about like moving and like the getting even the stuff in and out of the U-Haul.
Yeah,
like,
that's honestly, yeah, the packing and unpacking of the like boxes. I'm even okay-ish. I don't love it, but I'm okay-ish on that. I do not like organizing the moving day. Like that's the worst. Getting friends together to move stuff. And like nothing about that.
But that's fun. Why it sucks, because the friends that you're getting together know moving sucks. So they're like, nah, man, I'm not trying to do that.
Yep, it's true. So agreed, there you go. Ben Chicken says, the only thing that happens for Zelda's anniversary was the Game & Watch, right? Mario, for example, had gotten 3 All-Stars for his anniversary. The game came for the anniversary and left because of it too. So do you think Nintendo will release Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, but keep them on the Switch because they were technically not part of the anniversary? I guess like piecemeal is...
Yeah, I think they might do something like that. Or they like, how there was like that thing going around that Nintendo is aiming to have a Zelda game out per year.
Yeah.
Like maybe they do that and they just use it for that.
Yeah.
Rather than releasing them all at once and being like, anniversary. They're like,
right. Yeah.
New Zelda, new Zelda, new Zelda.
So I wouldn't be entirely surprised if I think Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD are coming. I don't know if they'll come as a double pack or separately, but I think they'll come. I bet it comes as like a Bayonetta 1 and 2 double pack where you can buy each of them separately, or like
together.
Yeah, like they're $40 each, or they're $60 as one, or something like that, or a dumb pricing scheme, because they do that sometimes too. Sometime next year, maybe towards the beginning of next year, like in February or something like that. I wouldn't be too surprised. Like we'll have to wait to see how September goes, but we talked about September earlier, Nintendo Switch Online and stuff. If Nintendo 64, if this is finally the year where it happens, and like that's how they kind of make good for Super Mario 64 going away and all that stuff, like that this is finally them starting to do that. Maybe not, but once September's come and gone and that hasn't happened, then like who's to say? But that would be my guess at this point. Only because they specifically didn't say that they specifically said we're not doing anything for Zelda's anniversary. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd probably still be guessing more towards the anniversary themes.
Same.
Digital Gaming Hub said, I can't remember my original question, but what indie games are you looking forward to this year?
I'll probably play Sports Story because I never played Golf Story.
That's good.
So I'm down.
Yeah. It also kind of, indie games are hard because like sometimes they'll be like definitely 2020 for sure. This is coming out 2020, and then 2022 rolls around and they're like, what? We never said that. What are you talking about? So there's some of those for sure.
But also indie games are hard for me to like anticipate because just generally they don't demo well. So like I see them in a direct and I'm like, I don't care about this at all. And then it comes out and then it's Celeste and it's sick.
Yeah.
So Sports Story is the only one that is in the front of my brain as an indie game that I will likely play.
Yeah.
So that is my answer.
For me, I looked up some stuff earlier. At some point I made like a wish list kind of thing a long time ago, but ones at the top of my mind, if they come out this year at all, are Sports Story, like you said, Skatebird, which is coming out this year. Looking forward to Skatebird. There was another one, that Eastward. Yeah, that one looks like it'll be pretty cool. And then Yeah, there's probably just some other ones. I'm just gonna take a gander over here. Yeah, I don't know. Axiom Verge 2, if that comes out this year, like that could be cool. And yeah, just some other ones. Ollie World.
I thought that game already came out.
Ollie Switch Stance is out, but Ollie World has not yet. But man, I'm just in a skateboarding mood, you know. They're just good. Especially, I think like it was after playing Ollie Switch Stance again, or just playing it when I played it a couple months ago. I was like, man, skateboarding's fun. We should do more of this. But even then, I'd been looking forward to it since Skatebird was announced. So there's a lot of good stuff.
There's a video about that.
True Fernie YouTube said, do you think Nintendo is holding off Twilight Princess Wind Waker HD ports to pad out the next year with a Zelda game before Breath of the Wild 2 releases?
Possibly. Again, I think that they want to like capitalize on Zelda being a hot ticket right now.
Mm-hmm.
So like as many Zelda things as they could possibly have out, as far like separated as possible, because they don't want to oversaturate Zelda, but they want to saturate it.
Yeah, right. Like, and especially with it being like pretty different. Well, I mean, you know, like Age of Calamity, that's pretty different from other stuff, and like Link's Awakening, Cadence of Hyrule, like they're doing a decent job of getting like not a lot of those are like spin-offs in the way that Mario has Mario Golf, which is just a fully different game, but they're still spin-offs to at least diversify the offering, but keep it on the forefront of people's minds.
Yep.
Stephen Radford, here we go, said, how do I get good at Smash without playing for 2,000 hours?
This thing, I don't like the playtime question. I hate it. I hate it. That's why I never talk like I don't have my playtime listed for any game ever. Yeah. Because like I was already better than most people I play in Smash Brothers the first week I started playing Ultimate, like legitimately. And that's not me trying to brag. Like literally, I look back because you can see the dates that you did things. Yeah. It took me less than a week to get into Elite Smash.
Yeah.
You gotta figure that was less than 2,000 hours, you know. It like I don't play Smash or like the reason why I'm good is not because I play Smash a lot. I play Smash a lot because I'm good at Smash and it's fun. Like, yeah. So I think that the way you get good at Smash is understanding the game better, like looking to see what works. Yeah. Watch the game, watch how people that are good at it play it. It's all about awareness. It's I hit this person, they did this, their character did this. What do I do next? Yeah, I got hit. This happened to me. The reason why I got hit was X, Y, and Z. I'm going to avoid that and then follow up with this, blah, 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 blah.
And I think like the understanding part, you know, obviously coming before that is being like ready to learn. Just and like a lot of people will tell you, like a lot of like better players will say like the way you get better at the game is playing the game, but that's minute stuff. That's oh well, if Wolf forward tilts me at 70 and I'm Pikachu, I might die, you know. But like that stuff doesn't actually matter because you just need to know the broad thing of like stay far enough away from Wolf so he can't hit you. Like that's just the general thing that you need to know. The more you know and the more you play the game, the more risks you'll be able to like take effectively, but you don't need that to be good at the game. I think anybody that is good at fighting games or games with combat can be good at Smash with little to no effort because the game is pretty simple in its inputs. So as long as you play to hit and not get hit, you'll be good. It would be interesting to make a chart of some sort that's like maybe a pyramid chart of like the easy information that you can learn that's like foundational stuff that'll make the biggest difference. And then like learning that is, you know, like essentially the notches of improvement,
like like what you should prioritize getting good at each individual.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it can feel overwhelming to hear, you know, talking about like I don't remember what thing you said earlier, return reversals or whatever. Like I just made
like reverse arrow rush and stuff like that.
Yes, sure. You know, that kind of thing. Like
that's the cool, but again, you know,
like but like that's the top of the pyramid.
Exactly. Like that's the nitty gritty. That's not like that is And I can understand it from like the perspective of like Steve, who is my friend that wants to be able to play the game with me, right? You gotta skip some steps. You gotta get good fast if you want to be able to like play the game at my level as soon as possible, right? But most people that are trying to get good at Smash are good enough where they can play it and they're not always losing. Don't need to get that good.
And maybe it's also like finding good people to play with instead, you know what I mean? Like,
and that will be another thing that like will boost you as long as you're able to look at the game. And this is not a Smash specific skill. This is a human skill. This is a gamer skill of like being able to watch other people play the game and try to emulate what they do. Like looking at how I play the game should be able to teach you like, okay, well, I need to do more of this and less of that. And that's just the whole of it. Like I would say like the bare minimum, it probably took me I want to say 50 hours before I got like both of the characters that I played in Smash and Elite. And I think 50 hours is a normal amount of time to get good at a game, or good enough.
I mean, like thinking back in the 10, 15 hours I've played Tony Hawk, like there's a lot of things where like, just right at the beginning, I'm like, I want to be able to do this combo thing to this, but like, I'm not sure exactly what that is, or like figuring out even just like how to make combos that have a lot of points and things like that. Like there's a lot of things where like my brain wants to do something and then I don't have the dexterity to do it until I do, or vice versa. There's some things where like, I totally could have done this. Like, I didn't realize that you could, I would try to turn like half pipe tricks into combos. So I do like a big trip going off the half pipe and then come back down and then try to manual, and you'd be like, sorry, that's a separate thing. Like, and I was mad about that. And then figuring out that all I just have to do is do a revert. And then suddenly this thing that's worth 9,000 points instead of other things that are worth like 100 points, then now I can just do a revert and then make a combo out of it. So it's like, it's just a knowledge thing of like, now that I know that, it improves everything else.
It's not about learning how to do complicated things. It's about learning how to make complicated things simple. Like you can beat somebody if you know more tech than them and you're a Diddy Kong main and you're able to do pop gun cancels and all this wild crap that's like a whole bunch of inputs and you're breaking your controllers. Like that sort of situation. You can do that. Or you can pick Rob and down tilt the entire game. Like it's just a knowledge thing. So I'd say if you're like in earnest, if you're trying to get good at the game, give or take 20, 30 hours, that'll set you on the right path. And then that will be enough time for you to understand the game enough to want to play more and get into the nitty gritty and the minutia and all that other stuff. But the minutia is not a requirement to be good at the game.
I will also say like playing against the CPUs, not in World of Light because they are built to be gimmicky, but playing against regular CPUs and like upping their difficulty is a good way to get started too, of like being able to feel comfortable against a specifically, you can choose the difficulty level of the thing. And like, even I think playing somebody worse than you is important every once in a while to be able to know the feeling of like, oh, this is what it's like to actually like beat somebody or whatever, and like see what some of those things are. Like if I can manage to make this finishing move happen on somebody of regardless of the skill level, if I can make that thing happen, then I'll be good. But it's getting that thing to happen that's hard.
It's like I think it's important to always have some level of friction. Like I wouldn't necessarily say it's useful to fight somebody that's significantly worse than you are, but bad enough that like they don't know what you're going for. Like if you down tilt me as young Link, I play enough of the video game to know that you can get this combo route after hitting me with the down tilt. But if you're playing against somebody that's like similar, you know, like they're somewhere on your level, they can still be better than you, but not know that. And you can still get that combo route.
Like I think me and Grimhain fighting each other is a good matchup of like,
Right.
both of us are like not great at the game, but we're like, you know, we're all right. We kind of know what we're doing, to where both of us were able to learn. Like I could tell that there were setups that I was doing at the beginning that he was like, I'm not gonna let you do that anymore.
Exactly.
And vice versa, where like, then it was like a puzzle of like, I want to do this thing. When I do this thing, then now he starts to block me with this thing. So I'm going to try to get around that by doing this other thing. And like eventually find more loopholes like that you're trying to, you know, figure your way out of, and then you learn stuff.
TLDR, Smash is not a hard game. It's more about learning how fighting games work. Once you understand fighting games, Smash is very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple.
And it's fun. So very that's fun.
Good. I think, and it maybe depends on the type of person you are, but it's the better I get at it, the more fun it is, which is why I play it so much, because the better I get at it, the better I want to get at it.
Yeah.
So I keep playing it, and I would say most of those hours have not made me better at the game, but the 3 hours I played with Tweak or whatever, right? Like those 3 hours were probably made me way better at the game than my first 1,500 hours.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how you play it. Play the game.
Yep.
Play it efficiently. Falcon has like 300 hours, and Falcon is still like, we go back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a.
He's just. I mean, he's an F-Zero kind of guy, which means he, you know,
he just, you know, he
cares about the minutia. Like there's a thing to be said there where like when I'd play Tekken, I just button mash and like I was not good, but I just button mash, and sometimes I'd win with that, but like that's not because I was good at it at all. But then like, yeah, being somebody that can just have an approach of learning things, that's you know, that's a big deal. And like,
be good at learning. That is the key
to life. And questions from Discord. Our final location of questions is the following. Dirt Marcos said, what do you like to watch or listen to and do other than gaming in general?
I watch like event stuff now, like the Marvel things and like all that stuff, Disney Plus shows and freaking Paramount Plus and HBO Max. Like I'll do that every once in a while. I'll watch YouTube videos, I'll listen to podcasts like Rooster Teeth podcast, and now the F face, can't say it. I can't even say the real name. The real name is not even the curse word, it's the bleep. But I don't have a Go XLR, so I can't do it. I like that podcast. I watch my friends stream. Freaking. Other than that, it just depends on the day. Like if somebody's like, "Oh, you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm down." You know.
Yeah. I mean, also, and it says also, congrats on the baby and keep up the good work. You're one of my favorite podcasts. Thanks. That's one of the things that I do right now is be a dad. And so that takes up a decent chunk of time. But yeah, besides the game, I mean, I've talked about some of this stuff before, but like music, I haven't had nearly as much time to do anything with it recently, but that's a big part of my life. Or has been, or it's in there, even if it's not part of my practical life. In some seasons, it's in there. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, yeah, hang out with friends, same kind of thing. Go to church, that's always neat and stuff. Yeah, watching shows, like I'm also like, yeah, Marvel kinds of things. But I'm also a big fan of like the Brooklyn Nine-Nines and Parks and Recs of the world and all those kinds of silly comedy shows. And like Rick and Morty started coming back on, and this season's doing pretty well so far. It kind of suffers from like, it got too big for its britches sort of thing, especially last season where it was like, okay, I don't know, like now it's kind of too popular. And
yeah, I think I kind of like, I used to watch Rick and Morty, but I fell out because like I was annoyed by the whole thing of like the discourse between you got to be smart to watch Rick and Morty, and then the people mocking that also made me like it less. So it was just like I just don't want to engage. Because like it doesn't make you smarter to be like to make fun of that. You're also dumb. Like,
and the tricky thing too is like there is an element of like Dan Harmon, for as great as he is, like he's kind of pretentious. But Justin Roiland is great. Like I think Justin Roiland is just funny. Like I watched Solar Opposites, and it same kind of thing, but doesn't have Dan Harmon, so it's just silliness, you know, like and it's I enjoy that a lot. But whereas Rick and Morty sometimes can kind of like get sucked up in its own, you know, stuff and be too important for itself or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know, some of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a lot of it these days. And I work and I don't, and I love to do that.
like, comment, subscribe.
No, but that's and listen to like some Nintendo podcasts and stuff, but like lots of different music, lots of different kinds of metal as well. That's very fun.
I listen to these too. That's the thing I do too, but it's more ancillary than it was in the past.
Yeah,
it's like there's before I was like, I wouldn't really like listen to music in the background, but now it's like all I do.
Nice.
Is listen to music when I'm playing Smash.
Hey, there's some stuff in Tony Hawk, like it's run the gamut as far as
is there any new stuff in that?
100%. Yeah, like probably 2/3 of it is new stuff, if not more. And of the new stuff, it's like, because I'm not a huge hip hop fan, like pretty hit or miss as far as, especially I think it's more content driven than anything else. Where like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's hip hop or any other kind of music. I just truly don't care. Like if we're talking about, if it's just talking about sex or whatever, I'm like, all right, that's fun and all, but whatever. Whereas there's like, yeah, I mean, maybe they're talking about that too in this hip hop. I don't pay attention to lyrics all that much, but the music part of it is at least more interesting, and I'm like, I'm into it, so it's fun. Yeah. Duncan said, what did y'all do to celebrate Canada Day? Obviously, limit yourself to 1,000 words since we don't want this to take all day, but we know it's the most celebrated holiday of all time.
I tried to ride a moose in Breath of the Wild. The game told me no. I had McGriddle. They have syrup in it. It's not maple syrup or whatever. I don't take, but
some kind of syrup.
That has some counts. You guys like syrup. I said A at least once.
Yeah,
at least one time.
I
talked about boats, which is almost a Canadian thing, because a boat.
That's true. It's pretty much the same. I will limit myself to 1,000 words, but since a picture is worth 1,000 words, I'm freeze framing, so it's closer to a picture.
It's not for the listeners, not for the
it's podcast. Not. I've made a little shruggy kind of face. So there it is. Duncan, I hope you really kind of got that, the heart behind it. Bigfoot Boudreaux said, what other Nintendo franchises would you want as ultra realistic? Also, when's the best time to eat a snack?
Ultra realistic. F-Zero, Metroid, maybe Star Fox. Maybe Star Fox. But it couldn't be ultra realistic because it's freaking still talking animals. Fire Emblem.
I thought about that one too, like having actual like armies or whatever, like maybe as a spin-off of Fire Emblem, which seems,
or maybe Advance Wars instead.
Yeah. Custom Robo, that could be interesting. It's ultra realistic, like where I don't know, parts malfunction in certain ways or whatever.
Chronicles X2.
Yeah. Kid Icarus, definitely. Like it's really important for angels and demigorgons and stuff to be ultra. I'm just kidding.
You just wanted to be Bayonetta.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know.
Or God of War. I guess.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's kind of it for me too. I think you said some of the important ones.
Those are the ones. Yeah. I think the easy ones is the Metroid, F-Zero.
Yeah.
Maybe Star Fox.
Yeah.
And it kind of stops there. Like there's other ones that like can be added there, but then there's asterisks, kind of like Star Fox, where it's like, like ultra realistic in a lot of its mechanics and stuff like that, and like the fur could look great and
crap. I mean,
but it still needs to be anthropomorphic,
right? I mean, like Pikmin kind of does it in a way because like the fruit's very realistic and that kind of thing. So like, there's an element there.
The fruits on Pikmin 3, especially in the Wii U days,
man.
When they showed those fruit, I was like, this should be like the clear, like, because there was a lot of debate being like, is Wii U more powerful than the PlayStation 3? And I'm like, yes, it is. Like, and the fruit was like There it is. There's the confirmation.
The proof is in the fruit pudding is how it would say it there. Also, when's the best time to eat a snack? He asks.
When you're moderately hungry or bored. Or moderately hungry and bored.
Which is most of the time for me, I feel like. So
not when I'm bored.
I think that's the beauty of a snack is there's no one best time to eat a snack.
I don't eat snacks that much.
Times or eat a snack.
I just like I would drink soda or like or juice more so than soda. I drink juice and beverages more than I eat snacks. I'm not good at eating, but I'll drink all day, dude. Not alcohol, but
yeah. Yeah, I would like if we had like peach tea, especially if we keep that around. There was a time in high school where we'd my mom would buy a 6-pack of 2 liters of peach tea to keep at the house every week, and I would be responsible for 5 of those, which is a lot of peach tea. So it was just the way that it was. I just liked it a lot, you know.
She's great.
Tristan Snyder said, why does AJ play with a Pro controller for Smash and not a GameCube controller?
More inputs. I mean, more buttons. So I'm at my ZL button to special. I'm at my L button to jump. I'm at my R button to what's my R button? Grab? My R button might be grab. And then my ZR is shield like everybody else. No, my R button is grab. My L button is my R button is jump. My L button is grab. My ZL button is special. My ZR button is shield. You don't have a ZL on no, you don't have a L
ZR
on because you only have the Z. You don't have ZL and ZR on GameCube. So that gives you less buttons. And that alone, on top of the fact that I also don't like the triggers on the GameCube controller. Yeah. Because like I want to press the trigger and know that I'm pressing the trigger. I don't want to have to deal with like presses and all that stuff. I just want to be able to press the button.
Yeah, especially when it's analog. I mean, when it's digital anyway. Like
yeah, exactly. So that's why it's input driven and also like the form factor and like their decision to do analog versus digital button.
Also, nobody likes the GameCube controller. Like I've never met a person that says they like the GameCube controller.
I think too many people like the GameCube controller. I think the GameCube controller, ironically, is only useful for Smash. like it is pretty bad for every other type of game except for Smash.
I mean, yeah, I like the GameCube controller well enough, but there's definitely like I wouldn't choose it over Pro controller because like the little C stick, the buttons being in kind of weird places, the like it's fine and all, but like it's easier to just have everything be
it's just a very specialized controller, and I think the only game that matches that specialization is Smash. Every other game, it's like, I guess I can use this for this. I'd probably prefer to play it with something else, but I guess I can use it for this.
Yeah. Grimhane, hello, Grimhane said, why have we not gotten Mario Soccer, and why hasn't Nintendo developed Mario Ice Hockey? Do you mean just not on the Switch? Because Mario Strikers, you know?
Yeah, I think he's Mario talking Soccer? About
on the Switch. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. I think that they're going in order of like, well, I don't know if they're going to do Strikers next, but I think that they prioritize the sports games that sell the best. And Mario Strikers is not.
They're going to head and just like getting like, here's the Mario tennis game, the Mario golf game, and then at some point they'll do probably the other ones.
Hopefully. Ice hockey, I don't know why they haven't done that. It's probably not on the list of priorities because it's not even on EA's list of priorities.
Right. Maybe they do another like super sports mix kind of thing. I don't remember how well that one turned out last time. Was that good?
I don't know. I never played it. I should have though. I should have played it. But it was on 3DS. The last one was on 3DS and I was done. I was over it. I was out of there.
And I think it was too easy for them to do like, that's the problem with that kind of thing is they can do kind of like Super Mario Party ended up being, where it's like, oh, we're doing a lot of different things, but we're doing most of poorly fleshed out. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, what's the point? So yeah, that would be better if, you know, I mean, like Wii Sports did a good job of like making it, or Wii Sports, what's the Resort even more so. Like that one was very well done.
Resort.
Pokemon Tuesday Direct when? Or Saturday.
What?
It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be on Saturday. They can't have a Tuesday Direct on a Tuesday.
I mean, it's too on the nose, dude.
Too on the nose.
I mean, they're going to probably do one soon. We got to talk about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. But I don't know if it will be a direct.
Yeah, they're kind of. Like, it is interesting. I would more imagine just like them dropping a trailer or whatever, just because this at this point we're past precedent for this, for what they've done, because normally
like
they
haven't
right before E3.
Right.
So like they could kind of do anything, but unless they have multiple things to talk about, I can't see them doing.
If like I think the next time we'll get a Pokemon Direct that's branded like that, or even as a Pokemon Presents, will be for Arceus. Because there's definitely more to talk about with that game. I don't know how much more they have to talk about with Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. There might be like, like this is how the post game is kind of different, and this is how Wi-Fi will work. And but that's a trailer. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. Last question from Grimhane: when will Parker take over the Smash competitive scene? When Isaac comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
We did it. All right, 2 more questions. Alec is Baking said, AJ, since Will is likely never going to make the video, what are your ideas for?
I 100% think I can get Will to make that video.
You very well should, and you should feature in it because you think it would be cool too.
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
But what are your ideas for a Static Shock video?
To be like, yo, Will, let's do it.
Yep.
For something to happen.
Like right. It can't. It's got to be in the.
Yeah, like
in the
even
news.
Like a comic. I don't think is enough.
Yeah.
To make me want to do it. Like it would be enough for Will, but Will's not actively doing YouTube right now. I think for me to get Will to do to make, how he made a random video about the freaking the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Like for me to be able to get Will to do that and want to do that anyway, it would have to be something that like is relevant to me beyond it just being Static Shock. Like I'm probably not gonna read a comic. I might buy the comic. But I'm probably not gonna read it. But like if a new movie gets announced or something like that, and we see it, like a new trailer, then I'm like, yo, Will, let's make the video. But other than that, it's just gonna be whatever he gets back to like doing YouTube on a somewhat regular basis. Because he, from last I heard, he still plans to come back to YouTube in some way, just not right now.
Nice. And he finishes by saying, also, there is a new Static Shock comic, and everyone needs to go buy it.
Sick. I'll probably buy it. I don't know if I'm gonna read it though, because I am bad at reading. Not like in the way that Bob's bad at reading, in the same way that I'm bad at watching
shows. Yep. Lastly, Mega Man says 4 months till the Diamond and Pearl remakes, and we still don't know much about around how much of a faithful remakes they're going to be. What do you hope they apply from newer generations, and what do you hope the story will be like if they change it at all? Also, side note, you guys are awesome.
Thanks, man. I hope that it is all new mechanics as far as like it's all the same like battle rationale. They change the typing to be like current day, like they always do with these remakes. I hope that that's all the same as current gen. I hope it is an 8th generation video game mechanically. I hope they change the story to be better pacing, and if they want to do those random detours, make it feel less like a punishment, less like we're hitting pause on the story because we want to make you do this random side quest for no reason. Like make me want to do that. I doubt that that's going to happen. I think that it's probably going to be a 1-to-1 translation. But
I think they should have the set pieces from Generation 3 because apparently those are the ones that I remember.
I think they should just make every game that I haven't played yet that's a current game a Gen 3 game.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I remember Gen 3 the most. So obviously that was the best one.
Gen 4. Okay, no, I'm about to get this wrong.
Gen 4 is the one with Meryl, right?
Okay, Peekaboo, thank you very much. Are the Reggies in 3 or 4?
They're in 4.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Now you confused me. Wait. Hold on, I had to think. They're in 4.
I think they're in 4 because they're
They are in 4.
Nice. So okay,
I don't know.
I am remembering more and more things about Gen 4.
No, they're in 3. They're in 3. They're in 3. I think they're in
3. Oh no, Gen 4. I just looked it up.
They are in 4? Okay, yep. I'm confused. I got confused because they did the Pokemon Generations thing. I mean, not Pokemon Generations. They did the Battle Frontier, and the Reggies were a part of that, and May was still there. So that's why it confused me.
Yeah.
Because
because I guess 4 is when they started doing more like kaiju type Pokemon and those kinds of things.
Yep.
And so
I thought it was like, I thought how they did it, because when I think of the Reggies, that I think about the Reggies in the context of the anime more than the games for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But
did they have it kind of more like Meryl was in Gen 1 of the show?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly how
in Gen
it was.
1 of the show. Yeah.
And what I thought it was, or in hindsight, just thinking about the Reggies like unprompted, it seemed like the Reggies, like Regice and like Reggie Steel and like those first 3 Reggies, Reggie Rock, it seemed like those were Gen 3, and then Gen 4 was where the final piece of the puzzle, Reggie Gigas, came in, but they're just all Gen 4.
Yeah.
And they just were like, here's a preview. We're not showing you Reggie Gigas stuff.
Yeah. Man, it is funny how they did that, because like I'm trying to think back to how it felt to be in Gen 1 and seeing a Pokemon on the show that wasn't
like Togepi.
Or Meryl. Yeah. It was like, that's weird. But it felt so, that's one thing I will still say to my dying day, that like there is an element of Pokemon in the early days that felt much more organic and lived in, and like part of it is just the marketing stuff, and that we're older. In some ways
it didn't though, because like as far as it being lived in, because like
not the games themselves. I don't mean like
I'm talking about the anime, because like with the anime, in those times where there was a Togepi or a Meryl or something like that, they were like, this is a new Pokemon. This Pokemon just appeared. It just freaking, like it just came from, it did that whole evolutionary process of coming from a tadpole, like actual real world evolution in the span of this one season. And we've never seen it before. Whereas now they kind of like account for the fact that like, you just never, like, we knew about this region all along. You just didn't know because you're a stupid 10-year-old. Like,
and I guess, to be honest, I guess I less mean the show, because I just don't watch the show now. So that's not my point of frame of reference now. I know I should. But the more so the games and the lead up to it, that it's like, it just feels very obviously, the fact that I'm on Twitter and it's like there's marketing tweets that are coming out, that it's like, a discovery about this new Farfetch, like something about that feels very like, like just having a game come out and be like, I don't know, here's all these Pokemon that are in this game, felt just in general more like, wow.
That also kind of happened for Gen 8 for me. I didn't know about any Pokemon in Gen 8.
Yeah.
Like I very intentionally did not pay attention to that stuff. And then I started playing the game, and the only Pokemon I knew were the starters. Yeah. Their evolution.
Yeah, I definitely tried to know as little as possible, but there was an element just in general. Yeah, something I'll have to think about it more to put my finger on it more. But it felt in the same way that, I think I've said this analogy before, but Rise of the Skywalker felt very like writer roomed. Pokemon just feels more, something about it feels more writer roomed nowadays.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Which is like,
but even then, I think that's less like Rise of the Skywalker felt writer roomed because it was.
Yeah, that was.
But
bad.
Pokemon kind of feels like that because they're just following the formula that they always intended to follow. You know, like they still do the same thing where it's like there's the Togepi Pokemon. You know, like they do that version of that, and they do it differently. Like Blaziken appeared in the Pokemon League randomly in Gen 2, and people were like, what the heck is that? And then we started getting the Hoenn like teasers and stuff where it's like, it's a new generation, it's on the Game Boy Advance. And I was like, oh shoot, that's the thing that beat Ash's Charizard. It's crazy. Yeah, like I definitely feel that, but I think that it's more a victim of time than it is like them, like, you know.
I agree. Yeah. I miss it, but I don't think there's a way for it to go back. You know,
it's a social media thing.
It is 100%.
Because like
I just didn't pay
they were
attention
still
at
announcing
all.
that. Yeah, they were still announcing that stuff on the internet in freaking 1998. It's just not everybody had access to the internet.
And I was 8, so like,
yeah.
What you gonna do?
I was on Google Images, dude. I went to computer class.
Yeah, what a time. The internet.
On the bubble back iMac.
Yep, 100% playing space pinball and all that good stuff.
And lemonade stand or whatever.
Wait, was there a lemonade stand game or just
it was
having
like
a lemonade
coolmath.com or something like that. It's like
Oh.
you run the lemonade stand, dude. You're like, all right, ice costs this much, and I gotta buy ice, and I gotta buy lemon, and I gotta buy water. How much am I going to charge for my lemonade? And then it's like it's a hot day, so people really
never
want
played this
lemonade
game.
now. So I gotta
Yeah.
raise the price 5 cents because lemonade's a hot commodity now. That's why I'm a entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur. That's why I'm not. I never played lemonade.
Because you never played the lemonade game.
Missing out. And you guys will be missing out on the conversations we have between now and this time next week, because we won't be recording them, but you can find more of them on our YouTube channel and on our Twitters and in Discord. And if you come to our houses and listen to us through our doors, but don't do that one. You also don't know where we live. So that's it from this podcast.
I mean, there's definitely some people that know where we live, but like they're allowed.
It's true.
You know, like they know because they also listen to the show.
Yes, right. Like if Kenny, who I mentioned earlier in the podcast, is listening to this podcast,
you live. Exactly.
you can just come and listen through my door. Come on over, Kenny.
Yeah,
that sounds great. All right, everybody. That's it for this week. Do all the YouTube things.
Yeah, like
podcast
things, all that,
et cetera. And we're
Let us know
gonna
what you think in the comments.
go do our own things.
Bye-bye.
Bye.